demonstrates the most basic boxing technique. Yet it shocks these genius students to their core. Even the instructor breaks out in a cold sweat. They all want to know who will win this duel. This is a fighting technique they have never seen before. Is this really the same timid Zeke I know? Before all this, Zeke was the strongest knight on the continent, born into the Empire's greatest dragon-slaying family, yet awakened with the healer profession, entirely unrelated to dragon slaying. And he couldn't use the knight's unique aura. In the end, this led to his banishment from the family. To survive, he had no choice but to keep fighting, for he understood deeply that the weak are destined to be trampled by the strong. This is the truth of the world. Later, by chance, he obtained a legendary ancient relic, and consequently suffered brutal persecution from the Empire. Though he ultimately managed to kill all his enemies single-handedly, he was left mortally wounded at death's door. Even powerful healing arts had no effect. At this moment, he slowly pulls the ancient relic from his pocket, whispering, "I'm sorry, Alicia." The next second, the ancient relic emits pulses of golden light, its powerful will awakening ancient powers. The ancient dragon soul will imprint itself on the soul of one with strong will, initiating emergency measures. Will Jike Drake agree? At first he thinks this is nonsense, so he agrees without a second thought. Then, a notification window appears, activating irreversible power. As the countdown ends, the next moment, when he opens his eyes again, he discovers he had returned to the past, but he quickly accepts everything. He remembers clearly. This is the Draker family's training cradle. The Dragon Slayer Draker is the hero who kills the evil dragon Bahamut during the Great Human-to-Dragon War 1,000 years ago, saving the continent. And the Draker family, one of the 3 superfamilies, is established by Dragon Slayer, Draker, and Draker's descendants. Because of this, everyone with Draker blood can receive the blessing of aura. They can more easily awaken their aura and become knights. But Zeke alone is the exception. Just then, a notification window appears before him. The ancient dragon soul has completely merged with the chosen one's soul. The next moment, countless windows appear before his eyes. Zeke Draker, class, healer, title, one who received the blessing of the ancient dragon. He is shocked. It is like magical imaging that can penetrate. And the words class and skill are terms no longer used in modern times. He suddenly remembered his master once said that ancients categorized individual abilities into various classes, with techniques derived from classes called skills. So his healer profession can use healing skills. Back then, his master had made him train daily, claiming that healers needed to be physically strong. Anyway, from the current situation, he is now a healer. The next second, a pure white light emits from his hands. So it is true. In his previous life, he became a healer at age 20 after opening his ether. Now, he closes his eyes and begins to meditate. Sure enough, his ether has already unlocked. Although his previously trained body has gone, he has returned with his skills and memories, putting him in a more advantageous position this time. To better utilize all this, he needs to understand the cards in his hand. Just then, Zeke's butler Decker slowly appears before him. He says, "Have you forgotten today's important matter, young master?" Zeke has always been terrified of Decker. Even though his mind is now 32 years old, the fear ingrained in his bones can't be erased. Just then, the professional skill calm activates, and his nervousness instantly disappears. It can even activate automatically. At that moment, Decker slowly speaks, "Young master, are you listening to me?" Zeke replied, "Of course. You're referring to the Pancration evaluation test, right? All children with Draker blood need to enter the cradle at age 7 for 5 years of rigorous training. Pancration is fighting without rules. Instructors evaluate students through Pancration and sword combat matches. Instructors decide practice opponents, but opponents can be designated by mutual agreement. Because there are no rules, injuries occurred, and sometimes people even died. But since this evaluation determines academy placement, the children have no choice but to give their all." The scene changes, and instructor Pan Maruk announces, "Today is the day for Pancration. Everyone knows this is the final evaluation. Now get ready." The crowd begins to whisper, "I can't believe Zeke dared to come. Wasn't the beating last year bad enough? Is he really a direct descendant?" Then, Aaron and Guta begin the first duel. At the instructor's signal, Aaron immediately kicks out, instantly ending the fight. Fighting without any defense naturally leads to this outcome. As a child, I trembled with fear whenever faced with duels. Now it looks so simple. Meanwhile, Zeke doesn't notice someone nearby eyeing him eagerly. A moment later, it's finally Zeke and Raven's turn to duel. Zeke slowly says, "I'm not surprised it's you again, Raven. But this isn't strange at all, since every year my opponent has been him." Zeke knows they must have some kind of private arrangement. Zeke thinks, "What a despicable guy, and he's actually my relative." In his previous life, the 4 direct descendants of the Draker family rarely met, but there were a dozen or so cousins who often bullied Zeke. Now, Raven says, "Zeke, I have to praise you this time. After getting beaten so badly last time, you still have the courage to show up." Hearing this, Zeke's calming skill instantly activates, and he quickly regains his composure. Zeke says, "If you're mocking me for being inferior, I won't let you off." Then Raven grabs his hair and says, "Not let me off? What could you possibly do?" The next second, Zeke suddenly activates a skill direct hit, striking him squarely in the face. Zeke had originally intended to knock him out, but the skill activated on its own. The instructor asks in surprise, "I haven't announced the start yet, why did you attack?" But Zeke dismissively says, "Isn't it a fighter's advantage to strike first?" Hearing this, the instructor is utterly shocked. He actually sensed killing intent from a student. Then Raven says, "Instructor, Announce the start. I'll teach that inferior person a harsh lesson. With the instructor's signal, Raven quickly assumes his stance and attacks Zeke while constantly guarding against Zeke's left hand. When Zeke throws a left punch, Raven suddenly crouches down, then grabs Zeke's body, intending to throw him to the ground. But at that moment, Raven's expression suddenly changes, and he quickly distances himself from Zeke. Seeing this, the instructor is astonished. Could this be the fighting ability of a 12-year-old child? When Raven dodged Zeke's attack and pushed him down, he thought he had won. But unexpectedly, Zeke quickly attacked Raven's chin, breaking free from his grasp. Even though his attack failed, Zeke remained incredibly calm and made the right offensive move. He possesses tremendous skill and focus. Is this really the Zeke Draker everyone knew? Meanwhile, just as Raven intended to create distance, Zeke disabled his left leg with a single blow. Seeing this, Raven immediately swings his fist at him. But with the enhancement of his focused sensing skill, Zeke quickly dodges every one of Raven's attacks. It seems Zeke has grown accustomed to controlling ether. Let's end this. The next second, Zeke suddenly executes a shoulder throw, while activating his vital point strike skill, instantly breaking Raven's ribs. Now, he slowly says, even if your learning ability is lacking, with this level of demonstration, you should learn something, right? Who do you think you are to speak to me like that? Just then, he suddenly remembers something. He says, I remember all your names. Don't look around. If you have objections, come down and challenge me. After Zeke issues this threat, a figure slowly stands up. Jike Drake, I name you as my opponent. The speaker is Jake Drake, Zeke's distant cousin. Zeke says, fine, but dueling just you would be boring. You and your servant Liam Stone should both fight with me. That would be more of a fair fight. Hearing this, Jake immediately explodes in anger. Are you insulting me? Zeke replies, of course, isn't that obvious? A moment later, the instructor announces the start of the duel. As Zeke gazes at the boy before him, he falls into deep thought. The Mercenary King Liam. In his previous life, as Jake's servant, Liam entered the academy after graduating from the cradle. Because his blood relation was too distant, he was abandoned during the education process. Later, he joined the Knight Order of a small country called Balanawan. After Balanawan's destruction, he became a mercenary. After a long life as a mercenary, he reached the level of Crimson Knight and founded the Stone Mercenary Group, eventually becoming the Mercenary King, who unified the three major mercenary groups. Later, the Empire hired the Stone Mercenary Group, causing Liam to participate in the Continental War. The North and the Empire had always been enemies, and Zeke, as a northerner, became his enemy. But this time should be different. Meanwhile, Jake suddenly throws a punch at him, but Zeke easily blocks it. Zeke says, I clearly told you both to come at me together, but Jake ignores him and follows up with a kick. Soon, a piercing pain shoots from Jake's right foot through his heart. Zeke had used his elbow to defend, while Jake was distracted. Zeke had already arrived in front of him, and makes a punching motion. Seeing this, Jake immediately protects his face with both hands. But the next second, Zeke suddenly attacks his right foot instead. Zeke says, you can't even recognize a feint. That's why I told both of you to come at me. Fighting just you is too boring. In no time, Jake is beaten without any chance to fight back. Jake shouts, Liam, kill him for me! The next second, Liam approaches Zeke slowly, carrying a powerful killing aura. Zeke thinks, this aura, is he really 12 years old like us? Zeke knows that if Liam seizes the initiative, he'll be forced to follow Liam's rhythm, so he launches an attack first. The next moment, countless shadows suddenly appear around Liam, all launching attacks. The spectators are utterly shocked. What kind of attack technique is this? Even the instructor appears surprised. This is indeed a technique they've never seen before. The central continent primarily focuses on sword techniques, so northern boxing techniques are rarely seen. Meanwhile, Zeke suddenly realizes his current body is still too weak and cannot sustain attacks for long. But more than that, Liam's monster-like physique is the biggest problem. He's been casually defending all along. Yet as the Mercenary King, shouldn't he be more offensive? Now, Zeke tightly clenches his right fist. Zeke thinks, my body has already reached its limit anyway, so I'll concentrate all my power to break through his defense. The next second, Zeke throws an incredibly powerful punch. Seeing this, Liam immediately dodges by tilting his head. Zeke is shocked. Liam shouldn't be able to see ether. His sense was incredibly sharp. Just then, Liam suddenly grabs Zeke's right hand, then tries to throw him to the ground. But the next second, Zeke breaks free from his arm. Then using his focused sensing skill, he manages to lock Liam's body with his own. In no time, he completes a rear naked choke. Zeke says, cut off the air and blood flow to the brain and you have no way out, right? Meanwhile, Liam frantically throws punches at Zeke. That's right, now it's just a matter of who can endure longer. Then the two engage in a battle of endurance. Seeing this, the spectators are utterly shocked. Even the instructor breaks out in a cold sweat. They all want to know who will win this duel. Shortly after the fighting sounds abruptly stop, Liam has collapsed unconscious. Now, a boy in the audience reveals a smile and says, that's more like it. This way, defeating you will be interesting, Jike Drake. After Zeke wins the duel, the butler asks him, young master, I heard you were seriously injured in the Pancration. Let me check your pulse. But Zeke already knows his intention. He wants to confirm whether Zeke has awakened aura. Without hesitation, Zeke immediately extends his left hand. The next second, a blue energy surge enters his body. Seeing this, Zeke is utterly shocked. He's actually a blue knight? Usually when checking if someone has awakened aura, they only examine the dantian, but he checked the entire body through the meridians. Infusing aura into another's body is extremely difficult difficult, requiring precise control of aura. He really is a blue knight. Knights are also ranked in tiers, divided into several levels based on combat power and aura control ability. White swordsmen are at the stage of just learning swordplay. Before the blessing ceremony, most children in the cradle are white swordsmen. Orange swordsmen are at the stage of opening the dantian for training after awakening aura. Students in the cradle become orange swordsmen after receiving the blessing, able to freely control aura. Purple knights are at the stage where they can earn the title of knight, able to enhance their swords with aura. Blue knights are at the stage of awakening blue aura. Finally comes the realm that only those who transcend limits can reach. The Mercenary King Liam and I from the previous life could become Crimson Knights, although there are also Black Knights. Such a level is rare across the entire continent. He wonders how someone at the Knight Captain level came to be a butler, but this is useless, because aura absolutely cannot detect ether. Just then, the butler slowly says, "Young master, are you hiding something from me?" Zeke says, "Why do you say that? It seems you're the one hiding something, Decker." The butler says, "Young master, how have you suddenly changed so much?" Hearing this, Zeke immediately changes tack. "You should ask why I've only changed now. I'll change even more in the future. Everything will return to its rightful place. You just need to follow me." The butler says, "I understand, young master. As you requested, I've prepared the training room." Then Zeke leaves, thinking, if the butler is someone monitoring me, I'll keep him close to extract information. But the question is, whose side is he on? Probably one of my siblings. The scene changes to Zeke arriving at his personal training room. Then he summons his status window. From the window display, many skills have been upgraded from novice to proficient. He's puzzled. Were these actively triggered skills there from the beginning? Will skills learned later also appear in the skill bar? But what's the difference between professional skills and skills? Though they activate similarly. And there are dragon race skills. This actually requires 10 points to unlock. Achievement points can only be gained by killing monsters, which requires at least purple knight strength. Why did I return to the past? And what is this system? Looking at the professional skills, this should be related to the ancient relic. Currently, there's still too little information, but as long as I can become stronger, I'm willing to do anything, whether it's the system or the Draker family. This world has two powers: Knight's aura and Mage's mana. Knights control aura through the dantian, Mages control mana through rings, and these two powers conflict with each other. Zeke's talent was so poor that he had neither a dantian nor a magic ring. Later, when abandoned by his family, he met his master. His master helped him awaken the healer profession and taught him to use ether. So, he and his master are the only people in this world who can use ether power. After 2 hours of sword training, Zeke's body has reached its limit, but with the help of healing abilities, his body quickly recovers. However, he dares not use this power in front of others, because they would treat him as a monster. Since his stamina and wounds have recovered, it's time to continue training. The scene changes to the cradle's public dining area, where everyone is gossiping that Zeke seems like a completely different person. Could he be using black magic? Although Zeke behaved very savagely in the Pancration, he definitely can't win. That guy is so weak he can't even lift a sword. What chance does he have? Seeing this, the two who were disciplined by Zeke say he had a new sword custom made because the old one was too heavy. I can't believe I lost to such an inferior person. He must have beaten me by luck. Just then, Rena slowly speaks up. You think it was just luck? If you really think so, then you have no right to become Draker Knights. Time quickly advances to the day of the sword competition. This match uses real swords, so people die in the sword competition every year. This competition reveals the differences between students. 1 month after the end of year evaluation, the Draker Aura Awakening Blessing Ceremony will be held. Now, Zeke slowly walks onto the stage holding a heavy sword. His opponent is Rena. Rena says, I name you as my opponent. Zeke gladly accepts her challenge. Now Rena suddenly realizes that Zeke is far from simple. Could it be that because his physique has grown, his aura has also strengthened? But she quickly calms down, thinking, I'll just deal with him the same way as before. Now, Zeke can't help but break out in a cold sweat. It's still nerve-wracking to compete with the Shining Knight. Rena is one of the most active 5-star knights on the continent. She awakened her aura before the blessing ceremony and is called a once-in-a-generation genius. Although at this point, it's been many years since she awakened her aura. To build a solid foundation, she doesn't use aura at all in the cradle. Just then, with the instructor's signal, Rena launches a thrust attack directly at Zeke. Zeke immediately distances himself from her, but in the blink of an eye, Rena has already appeared behind him, then delivers a powerful sword thrust, instantly sending Zeke flying dozens of meters away. I didn't expect her to be this strong. Meanwhile, the crowd shouts, Rena, stop playing around, quickly kill him. However, a young man coldly snorts and says, in your eyes, is Rena just toying with him? Although he can't see very clearly either. Rena has been constantly looking for openings, but whenever she tries to attack an opening, Zeke always manages to block. It's as if Zeke deliberately exposed openings to Rena. This is practically like a sword training guidance session, with a loud crash. The next second, both sides distance themselves from each other. Now Rena is already somewhat out of breath, so this is the strength of the Shining Knight. Indeed, she's very committed to basic sword techniques, which is why she's constrained within the framework. Let me see if I can break her framework. The next second, Zeke instantly lowers his body. Rena realizes he wants wants to instantly close the distance, but she's absolutely confident in her speed. Just as she thinks this, Zeke has already arrived in front of her and swings down the heavy sword. Seeing this, Rena immediately dodges by moving sideways. Rena thinks, as long as I keep my distance, I can still react. Just then, Zeke scoops up stone fragments from the ground and attacks her. With no defense prepared, the fragments hit Rena in the face, while Rena is stunned. Zeke has already arrived in front of her, then swings the heavy sword at Rena's neck. At this critical moment, Rena uses aura to knock Zeke's heavy sword out of his hand. When the heavy sword drops to the ground, the spectators all become extremely excited. Zeke has lost, Rena is amazing, and she didn't even use aura. But the instructor's expression is very grim. That's not right, although the students might not have noticed. The moment Zeke's attack touched Rena, she used a small, almost imperceptible amount of aura. Rena vowed not to use aura before entering the academy. Has she gone back on her word now? Just then, Zeke approaches her. The next second, Zeke throws a punch at Rena's neck. Rena then kneels on the ground holding her neck. Seeing this, the crowd expresses dissatisfaction. This is a sword competition. We can't acknowledge Zeke using such underhanded tactics. Losing your sword as a knight is a disgrace. The winner should be Rena. But Zeke is very dismissive about this. Isn't winning all that matters? Now, Zeke slowly says to Rena, do you want to continue? Rena says, I haven't lost. I just let my guard down and gave you an opportunity. But she quickly realizes that if he had a short sword in hand, she would already be dead. A moment later, Rena announces to everyone, I lost. Hearing this, the spectators are all utterly shocked. A few days ago, Zeke was considered worthless by the family. Today, he actually defeated Rena, who is regarded as a genius in the family. After Zeke wins the sword competition, his victory brings a huge shock to the entire cradle, while he himself hides in the training room, training diligently. Now, he opens his status window. Sure enough, skills improve in level after proficiency increases to expert. The quick step skill he learned in the sword competition a month ago now has a proficiency of skilled. At this point, Zeke says to the door behind him, Decker, what brings you here? The butler says, young master, we are ready to depart. Elsewhere, a black-haired man says worriedly, Abel, how can you still drink tea in this situation? That kid Zeke defeated Rena. But Abel says nonchalantly, don't worry too much. You always take things too seriously. It's been a long time since I've returned to the family home. I wonder what interesting abilities our little brother will awaken. I'm very curious about this. The scene changes to Zeke boarding a carriage headed for the ancestral city. The Draker family's ancestral city is located in the Duchy of Troy, with the family center in the Four Seasons city of Middleland on the continent. But the blessing ceremony must be held in the ancestral city, the starting place of the Dragon Slayer legend. A moment later, Zeke arrives at the Draker family's ancestral city, the Dragon's Lair, Rael. Now, looking at everything before him, Zeke appears surprised. The participants here are all figures only seen in continental newspapers, and there should be monitors sent from the direct line to keep an eye on me. Whatever their purpose, once they know I can't awaken, they'll drop their guard against me. The next second, Zeke displays an extremely angry expression. How can this guy be here? Meanwhile, Abel is chatting with nobles. He states that he came to watch the blessing ceremony because this batch of knights includes his adorable brother, the second son of the Draker family, known as the Lion Sword, Abel Draker. But Zeke, from the previous life, knows that the title Slaughter Knight suits him better. Now he forces himself to stay calm, as he can do nothing at present. He clearly remembers that in his previous life, Abel never attended the blessing ceremony. Could his actions have changed the future? Perhaps there will be an opportunity in this life. Meanwhile, the blessing ceremony officially begins. The first to participate is Aaron. He puts his right hand into the water, then cuts his palm. The next second, a blue energy instantly surrounds him, then gathers at his dantian. All blood relatives of Draker must go through the blessing ceremony to open their dantian and awaken aura at age 12 when graduating from the cradle. Next is Rena. In rare cases, special situations occur, awakening aura while also awakening the Dragon Slayer trait, Hinder Mana. Just then, the mana lamp suddenly flashes red. Seeing this, the spectators all become extremely excited, because this is a pure blood awakening that can reach Crimson Knight or even Black Knight level. Then the instructor gestures for them to bring gloves. Due to the Hinder Mana trait, one cannot live normally without the family's specially made gloves. Having proven herself pure-blooded, so can use the Draker name and receive various family privileges. Just then, Zeke slowly stands on the awakening ceremony platform. Now, the spectators all feel extremely excited. He defeated Rena. He must be a pure blood awakening. But Zeke gazes at everything before him, lost in thought. I never thought I'd stand before this damned bronze statue again. In his previous life, he survived the cradle by gritting his teeth, only to become the first awakening failure in the Draker family. But this time will be different. Not only can he heal, but he can also control ether. More importantly, he stood up through his own will. So this time, please, damn bronze statue. But the bronze statue shows no reaction. Seeing this, the spectators are all utterly shocked. Even Abel's expression becomes grave. This has never happened before, so that's how it is. I should never have had any hope for him. It's all that person's fault for making me have unnecessary expectations. The crowd is shocked. No possibility of awakening? How could this happen to a direct descendant? He's simply a disgrace to the family. Just then, a notification window appears before Zeke. System error during processing caused information delay due to lack of information about relevant profession in verification device. Information input now complete. Device verifies user's ability as healing. Profession opening confirmed. The next second, a red light instantly envelops the bronze statue. Seeing this, the spectators are all utterly shocked. It's actually red light. This must be a pure blood awakening. Zeke only makes the most basic defensive posture, but this leaves AWL incredibly shocked and curious. AWL wonders why Zeke chose to defend when he clearly could have counterattacked. Moreover, AWL senses that Zeke is hiding part of his strength. His power far exceeds what all can evaluate. Just after AWL defeats both Zeke and Rena with one sword, Duke's voice suddenly rings out, "Oh, you really beat up someone else's disciples badly." Duke walks over and says, "Win Knight, hello, you seem as cold as ever. By the way, after the practice match, what do you think of my disciple?" Hearing this, Albiel doesn't respond immediately but falls into deep thought. Why didn't he resist? Could his goal not be victory but rather to skip grades? Zeke concealed part of his strength. Did he not want to reveal all his power? At this moment, all slowly speaks. Zeke Draker, his strength far exceeds the range I can evaluate. The scene changes, with the principal approving Zeke and Rena's grade advancement. None of the teachers present have any objections, so Zeke and Rena are assigned to the 5th and 3rd grades respectively. After that, to reduce the trouble, Zeke acts as low-key as possible, hiding his brilliance. Since Duke taught him the wind technique, Andre inherited Zeke's position, while he maintained a friendly relationship with Pennon. However, later, Pennon was recruited by the Delpay Royal Magic Research Institute and left the academy, causing their relationship to gradually drift apart. Notably, he never had any interactions with other powerful families after that. Interestingly, AWL would find Zeke every quarter to request a practice match. Then, as if he realized something, he applied for a leave of absence to concentrate on training. 2 years quickly passed. Now Zeke has successfully graduated from the academy. Decker excitedly says, "The youngest student of Valhalla, the family head will be proud of you. After all, it's rare for the principal to personally write a recommendation letter." At this moment, Zeke says to Decker, "There are still 3 months before the enrollment ceremony, right? Decker, you should return to Atlas first. I want to rest quietly by myself. I don't want to be disturbed by anyone. Do you understand?" Of course, Decker immediately agrees. The Keikilu ruins are in the Giant Mountains, and Zeke plans to explore through the Argus Kingdom, Adventure Guild, under the pretext of resting. Out of caution, Zeke doesn't intend to tell any suspicious person about his purpose. Now, Liam slowly kneels before Zeke and says, "Lord Zeke Draker, hello." Zeke turns and says, "Liam, haven't I told you? This puts a lot of pressure on me." Liam says, "Young master, I'll take my leave now." Zeke says, "Good, use the black card to handle the Bahala school matter." At this moment, Liam curiously asks, "Did you call me here for something?" Zeke says, "Of course. I heard you entered the special class this time. As your lord, I certainly can't stand by and do nothing. From semester evaluation prediction questions to training guides, I've compiled everything you need for the exams. Go to Fabelnir's breathing blacksmith shop and give them this. They'll provide you with the items. Also, you're a 4th-year student now, so I've commissioned the blacksmith to forge a sword suitable for you. Liam, I believe you can definitely keep pace with me. Keep it up, I trust you won't disappoint me." Hearing this, Liam is deeply moved with tears welling in his eyes, and he firmly says, "I will work hard and definitely won't fail your expectations, my lord." Zeke says, "Good. I look forward to your performance." The Argus Kingdom at the northernmost end of the continent, along with Delpay, Tebea, and Aliancia, are known as the 4 great kingdoms of the continent. The Giant Mountains are the boundary connecting magical beasts and the continent, with dungeons of various sizes throughout the mountain range. Therefore, adventurers seeking to make a fortune rush to the Giant Mountains. The first king of Argus connected adventurers and dungeons to provide various services, making this the country's main industry. With the royal family's assistance, the Giant Mountains were divided into hundreds of areas, establishing transportation routes and outpost management. This is the origin of the Argus Adventurer Guild that spread throughout the continent. Now, Zeke registers as an adventurer using the identity of Zeke Mori. For convenience, he disguises himself. After all, Draker is a big family. Using the Draker identity run around would be too conspicuous. Now let me begin the search for treasures. Moments later, Zeke boards a carriage heading to the Giant Mountains. Finding a seat in this peak season is already quite fortunate. Just then, a voice comes from beside him. "Hi, brother. Are you an adventurer too? You look so nervous. Is this your first time entering a dungeon?" Then a blonde man slowly approaches Zeke and says, "For safety, why don't we enter the dungeon together? Despite our appearance, we're all veterans. Recent dungeons are dangerous, and going alone could make you monster food." Zeke has already seen through their intentions. This is a typical tactic of using rookie adventurers as bait to attract monsters or sell them to slave merchants. So Zeke ignores them, keeps ignorance, then gestures for them to be quiet. He stands up, walks to the coachman and asks, "There are monsters 500 100 meters behind on the left, they seem to be half-orcs. Do monsters appear in this area? Hearing this, the coachman is puzzled and says, this route is supposed to be a safe zone. Meanwhile, the blonde man starts mocking Zeke. Don't you know that the Adventurer Guild's main route is directly managed by the kingdom? Forget monsters, not even wild beasts can enter this area. Zeke says, if there are no monsters, then what's that behind you? The next second, a half-orc instantly destroys the carriage with a single strike. In no time, chaos erupts all around. Half-orcs appearing in the safe zone. Have the outposts lost their function? As I thought, this matter has become much more complicated. Were the Argus soldiers attacked too? Though with so many soldiers, they should be able to handle ordinary monsters. Just then, Zeke notices the wounds on the soldiers. From the wounds on their body, it's obvious that this wasn't done by monsters. This was done by humans. Because if monsters had attacked, the wounds wouldn't be so clean. Moreover, these soldiers show almost no signs of resistance. They were killed with a single strike. Though regrettable, staying here would only lead to misunderstandings. The most important thing now is to find the Chokehold ruins first. Moments later, Zeke arrives at the barbarian territory. According to the mini-map, he has reached the vicinity of the Chokehold ruins. But why are Imperial Hounds here? Hounds are talents who emerge from the Empire's night trainees, specializing in tracking and assassination techniques. They are the Emperor's direct forces. At present, besides high-ranking Imperial personnel, no one knows of the Hound's existence. But they will soon become the main force in the battles the Empire will initiate. Zeke has already tracked their every move through the minimap. After all, in his previous life, he died at the hands of the Hounds. And he remembers Duke once mentioned that the Emperor was obsessed with immortality, wanting to search the entire continent. Before Zeke's rebirth, the Emperor was already obsessed with pursuing ancient relics. Under the ambition of unifying the continent, he pursued the absurd dream of immortality. Could the Empire have already discovered the Chokehold ruins? Then, Zeke instantly disappears from his spot, thinking it better to confirm it. At this moment, a Hound is about to launch a signal. But the next second, Zeke cuts off his right hand on the spot. The Hound took out a yellow signal flare, indicating an emergency. Zeke says, so you are indeed the leader, but there are only 3 of you. Are you the outer security group? I remember there should be 12 people in a group, right? At this time, he still wants to question Zeke, asking who sent him. But Zeke says nothing, just beheads him on the spot, saying, don't you understand the situation? I'm the one asking questions. Think about it. Whoever answers my questions first can die quickly with no miserable. The scene changes. Zeke arrives at their temporary base. So it was they who turned the outpost into this state. They dare to attack the kingdom's soldiers. Are they really searching for the Chokehold ruins? Zeke thinks anyway, let me go and see. On the other side, the Hounds look listless, never expecting to enter barbarian territory and having to post sentries. The next second, 2 Hounds are shot dead by Zeke. Meanwhile, someone in the cave seems to sense something isn't right, saying, didn't you hear something from the entrance just now? Before the 2 can react, they are killed by Zeke with a single sword strike. Now he suddenly recalls past events. During the 5-year power struggle, Zeke received orders from his superiors while exhausted to enter Pavila Carter. It felt just like this. Now, the leader slowly speaks. Southern Assassin's short sword technique, Mackeen or Pavila, regardless of which side, since you've come here, you cannot leave easily. If you surrender now, I'll give you a quick death. At this time, Zeke looks contemptuous, thinking this guy is at most a green knight, far inferior to the Hounds of his previous life. Now Zeke slowly says, you actually want to give me a quick death? Shouldn't you tear me to pieces with your own hands to honor your comrades? If that's the case, then let me tear you to pieces. The next second, both sides launch into attack. Zeke is puzzled. Is this all the Hounds are capable of? Is it that they're too weak, or am I too strong? At this level, there's nothing impressive. But as Zeke activates magic reflection, all the surrounding lights instantly go out. Now, everyone is extremely shocked. Is this the Dragon Slayer's hinder mana? No, this guy was barehanded from the start and never used aura. And he uses the Southern short sword technique. He must be an assassin, that's right. Then the leader signals to everyone, don't panic, focus on defense, the lights will be restored soon. But when the lights come back on, what greets their eyes is the scene before them. The leader now wears an expression of disbelief, wondering what's happening. At this time, Zeke's voice rings out. The Emperor is really bold, daring to covet the Chokehold ruins. Hearing this, the leader doesn't acknowledge it, feigning ignorance and saying, what are you talking about? Zeke says, don't worry, even if you don't tell me, it doesn't matter, I can still find it. Then Zeke kills him in the darkness. The scene changes. Zeke throws away the short sword in his hand, disguising everything as Mackeen's doing. Mackeen Ka Lutel is the organization Zeke joined in his previous life. It was a massive organization willing to do anything for gold. After the southern continent's Cusco kingdom declined due to civil war, Mackeen and Pavila occupied this lawless zone. Although he could conceal his identity with dragon race skills, using the southern short sword technique and leaving Mackeen's signature warning would be safer. The Empire will definitely think it was the southern Ka Ruttel's doing. If the Empire takes action to deal with MC Kian because of this, it would be good news for Zeke. If the contents of the discovered letters are true, then the Emperor is even more insane than Zeke Zeke imagined. The Emperor's order is to find ancient ruins. What surprises Zeke is that the attached battle maps not only cover the central continent, but also the eastern continent in Ceasefire, and the unknown Dark Sea have already been planned. The Emperor has deployed hounds in all areas where ruins might be discovered. This means the hound's strength is similar to what Zeke knew in his previous life, but they don't seem to have discovered the Keikilu ruins. Just then, a red signal flare catches his attention. Could this be the signal for using the Sky and Earth Net? After discovering the Sky and Earth Net signal, Zeke hurriedly escapes from the outpost. Damn, I didn't expect them to catch up so quickly. The Sky and Earth Net red signal flare. Search from the center outward. After finding the target, gradually tighten the encirclement. The hounds in this area will follow this order until it's withdrawn. Seeing the hound's execution order is like awaiting a death sentence. In his previous life, Zeke stole an ancient relic the Emperor had his eye on in the northern continent, and ultimately died tragically on the Sky and Earth Net. But now Zeke has the system, so he can match them in combat. Now, Zeke rapidly swings his short sword, then uses quick steps to quickly distance himself. It's just as he thought. These guys are not on the same level as those in the cave. Meanwhile, the arriving hounds quickly surround Zeke. This is big trouble. Although he could escape the encirclement using his true power, but doing so would mean destroying the McKean disguise with his own hands. No choice now, this thing isn't meant for the situation, but there's no other way. The next second, Zeke suddenly blows a whistle. Hearing this, the hounds think, damn, does he have other companions? While the enemies are stunned, Zeke quickly uses a smoke bomb to disappear from everyone's sight, and a leader slowly speaks. Don't panic, he cannot escape the Sky and Earth Net. Return to your positions, look for unnatural smoke and shadows. However, after searching for a while, there are no findings. The leader is very puzzled, saying, no movement at all. Does he think we'll retreat just because he blocked our vision? As he ponders why Zeke blew the whistle, the next second, a figure flies past him. What's going on? Then he is shocked by the scene before him. They are barbarians. Damn, why are they attacking us collectively? We haven't done anything to provoke the barbarians. Damn, this is very dangerous with our current strength. The leader then fires a signal flare. Withdraw the Sky and Earth Net. He then signals everyone to quickly evacuate. Moments later, Zeke emerges from the ground. Didn't expect it to work so well. The barbarian horn, a tool made for quick communication in chaotic battles. In his previous life, Zeke had a close relationship with the barbarian Morgan tribe, who taught him to make horns and signal systems. The signal he just sent was, outsiders have trampled on the sacred mother's land. Although people think they are uncivilized savages, they have their own unique traditions and culture, living within their distinctive civilization. Unfortunately, these crude horns can only be used once. Now let's search for the true ruins. Moments later, Zeke arrives at a ruin. Before him is a dragon species corrupted by pollution. According to the minimap, there is indeed a door here. So he asks the system if it can open that door. The system answers, of course, and shortly after, the system opens the door connecting to the Hero King's tomb. But just then, the dragon species suddenly lets out a deafening roar. Zeke thinks, damn, looks like I can't sneak in now. Dragon slaying method application form. The next second, Zeke quickly approaches the entrance. Meanwhile, Zeke uses swift wind step to quickly dodge multiple attacks from the dragon species. His plan is to use shadowless footwork to confuse their vision, then quickly enter the entrance. Just as his plan is about to be realized, the dragon species suddenly opens its blood-filled mouth. Then, with a thunderous sound, the dragon species misses. At this time, Zeke has already drawn his long sword. Dragon slaying method, Chapter 7, Section 1, cutting the dragon's head. With a graceful silhouette descending, the dragon species' head is forcibly severed by Zeke. It's acidic blood. Zeke suddenly activates healing factors. Acidic blood plus nine-headed monster. Could this be the nine-headed dragon Hadra that his teacher from his previous life had difficulty defeating? Let me test its strength then. Then a fierce battle unfolded. But it was clear that the dragon slaying technique didn't cause it any harm, because in this era, dragon species had long disappeared, and the creature before him could only be considered the closest thing to a dragon species. The dragon slaying technique was completely useless against it. No matter how many times he slashed and wounded it, it immediately recovered from its injuries. And Zeke knew full well that with his current strength, he had no way to defeat it. Now there were only about 30 meters left until the gate. He immediately issued a command to the system window, close the gate. The next second, the gate began to slowly close. At the same time, Zeke unleashed the dragon slaying technique application skill along with the Gale Step ultimate technique. On the spot, he released a massive sword energy blast, just as he was about to take the opportunity to pass through the gate. At that moment, the dragon species discovered his whereabouts. It immediately launched a fierce attack toward him, and just when Zeke thought his plan had succeeded, the next second, the dragon species' head bit down on his arm right on the spot. It then dragged him into the ruins in one swift motion. Damn it, this thing actually followed me inside. Since you want my arm so badly, then you can have it. At that moment, Zeke swung his sword and severed his own arm. He then used his healing ability to instantly restore his arm. Right then, the dragon species suddenly spewed a cloud of poison gas at him. Damn it, this is endless. Seeing this, Zeke immediately severed its neck. However, Zeke was already exhausted at this point, facing the attack from the last remaining head. Zeke suddenly activated his Dragon Clan skill, Dragon's Majesty. If you don't want to be cut into pieces, then get lost. In an instant, the dragon species was enveloped by an overwhelming pressure. It immediately began to tremble, and then it was so frightened that it turned around and fled from this place. I didn't expect Dragon's Majesty to actually work on dragon species, damn it, I should have used it earlier. And strangely, infinite stamina had already been activated, so why was he still this tired? Was it because of the poison? At that moment, a system window notification appeared ahead. You have successfully drawn out the fear in the heart of the dragon species eroded by corrupted energy. Do you wish to use dragon species domination to tame this dragon species? Drawing out the fear in its heart, could it be the effect of using Dragon's Majesty? Taming such a terrifying monster was a scenario Zeke had never imagined. Just as he was thinking about giving it a try, the next second, the system notified him that his authority was insufficient and he couldn't make the fallen dragon species submit. At that moment, Zeke was at a loss for words. Well, it makes sense. It would be strange if such a powerful skill had no restrictions. Just then, a severe pain surged through his body. Warning, the poison from nine-headed dragon Hydra has exceeded dangerous levels. What's worse, healing couldn't eliminate the toxin. Zeke suddenly remembered the gluttony skill. If he could absorb it using blood-based abilities, perhaps he could resolve this poison. Because the nine-headed dragon's blood contained deadly poison, so if he consumed its blood, he would definitely gain poison resistance. Without any hesitation, Zeke immediately activated the gluttony skill. The next second, multiple system window notifications appeared ahead. You have devoured the fallen dragon species head and absorbed the designated creature. Gluttony skill proficiency has increased from beginner to proficient. Because only a portion was absorbed, resulting in an incomplete constitution, you have gained immunity to all poisons. As Zeke suddenly punched down, the immunity to all poisons constitution resolved the toxins in his body. His guess was indeed correct. He then checked his status window. Immunity to all poisons could eliminate most toxins and strengthen immunity. I didn't expect that absorbing designated creatures could increase the skill level. This is really good information. Whatever, I've already wasted quite a bit of time. I should hurry up and move now. The Hero King was a half-human, half-elf born to the wise sage and the Elf King. Just like in Legends, his birth was not smooth. Due to an evil magic conspiracy, he was forced to be separated from his parents. Later, a sacred wolf raised him alone. Later still, he liberated the oppressed humans and established a human kingdom in the central continent, Kronos. This was the legend that everyone in the central continent knew, but in modern times no materials remained to prove the authenticity of this legend. However, evidence that the Hero King and the kingdom of Kronos existed was now displayed right before Zeke's eyes. Although it was slightly smaller in scale than described in the books, he didn't expect that the Hero King's ruins were actually the kingdom of Kronos. But speaking of which, the Dragon Slayer's resting place also had this kind of atmosphere. Zeke then opened the gate leading through the Hero King's ruins with the system's help. The next second, a massive crystal appeared before his eyes. Is this the Hero King's secret technique? At that moment, a system window notification appeared ahead. Please begin the quest related to the Hero King's secret technique. You absolutely cannot leave here until you complete the quest. At that moment, the gate behind Zeke suddenly closed. Chain quest, you will learn the true teachings of the Hero King in the remaining ruins. There is no time limit. Reward, Tears of the Elf King. Zeke immediately felt incredibly shocked. The reward was actually the Tears of the Elf King. The next moment, the worm suddenly launches an attack. Seeing this, Zeke immediately raises his sword to block it, then quickly distances himself from it. Even the Green Knight doesn't want to encounter dungeon worms, because they have the ability to devour the ground as they move. If can't complete the task within the time limit, then we'll be buried here directly. Meanwhile, Zeke and the monster engage in several exchanges. Even though Zeke inflicts multiple wounds on its body, he fails to cause any significant damage. Just as Zeke prepares to deliver a full-powered strike, the next moment, the ground suddenly begins to crack open. This damn worm. Seeing this, Zeke immediately plunges his sword into the worm's body. At the same time, the worm writhes and tightly binds Zeke. On the other side, Liam is gradually approaching Zeke's position. At this moment, Zeke suddenly realizes the pressure has lessened considerably. He then instantly escapes from the spot. He curiously asks, Liam, what exactly did you do? To this, Liam immediately responds, I applied anesthetic to my sword. I see the main component of the anesthetic is belladonna, which only makes humans feel numb. But for worms, it's lethal poison. Who would have thought he could figure out that belladonna counters worms in this situation? His adaptability is strong. Zeke says, as expected of you, Liam, your nickname suits your outstanding judgment and responsibility. Liam, after I give the signal, thrust your sword into the worm's body. It seems bringing you on as my subordinate was the right choice. The next moment, Zeke quickly makes several cuts on the worm, then says, Liam, it's now. Hearing this, Liam immediately plunges his knife into the worm's body, instantly causing the worm to howl in pain. Meanwhile, Zeke slowly gathers ether. Soul God / skill, with a shadow flashing past, the giant worm is split in half on the spot. At this moment, several notification windows appear in front. Completed sudden task. You have received the task reward, double points. 2 boxes randomly sent. Currently have 780 points. Meanwhile, The instructor is grading the students. Just escaping earns you a basic score of 30 points. Calculating from the monster heads collected, Rena's total score is 180 points. Everyone present is utterly shocked. Indeed, pure bloods are different, worthy of the Thune family, far exceeding the passing score of 130 points. Next, Owen of the Gemins family, total score 120 points, far exceeding the passing score of 70 points, truly remarkable. But in his heart, Owen thinks, Rena Thune, let's see how long you can remain arrogant. If things don't work out, I'll just kill her like I killed Zeke. Just then, a familiar voice sounds out. It's been a long time since I've seen sunlight. Seeing this, everyone says, isn't that a dungeon worm? Aren't half-orcs the highest scoring monsters? These two actually captured a dungeon worm? At this moment, Owen appears utterly shocked. Seeing this, Zeke says, what's wrong? Are you that happy to see me? Hearing this, Owen's face instantly darkens. Zeke says, that's right, you look much better this way. At this point, Owen angrily turns and leaves. Owen thinks, damn pureblood, I'll make you pay dearly. Just then, Instructor Andre begins to grade the two. Since I'm responsible for grading, don't think you can get away with cheating. Were the other monster heads eaten by it? Yes. Zeke affirms, you're quite lucky. Due to the dungeon worm's ambush, all the heads collected over these 3 days are gone. To pass the exam, they had to bring back the worm's head instead. Probably only Andre could examine the skin residue on the teeth so carefully. A moment later, Andre finally finishes his inspection. From what I can see, there were monsters, goblins, hellhounds, half-orcs, and mountain spirits. Hearing this, everyone present is utterly shocked. There were even mountain spirits? Considering the quantity, there were dozens of monsters. Acknowledging this would be unfair. I'll calculate based on one monster of each type. Mountain spirits and worms aren't in the evaluation items, but counting a mountain spirit as equal to 3 half-orcs, and a worm as 6 half-orcs, the scores are 90 and 180 points. Total score, 368 points. You've passed. Hearing this, all the students are completely shocked. 368 points? How is that possible? We only see one dungeon worm head here, but everyone feels discussing this is completely pointless now. If they had encountered dungeon worms and mountain spirits, whether they could even survive would be questionable. Is Zeke Draker really that strong? It seems their opinion of Zeke has changed considerably. Although this feeling is nice, Zeke ultimately did something that drew attention. Zeke thinks, the Gemins tampered with the exam dungeon trying to eliminate me. Was this Owen's order? No, even Owen doesn't have the authority to do this. Maybe it was that person from the Gemins family. I didn't expect to attract so much attention. Well, I'll just play along with them for now. Just then, Rena calls out to Zeke, saying, you won this time. Hearing this, Zeke is bewildered. What does that mean? A moment later, Zeke arrives at the training ground. Currently, he spends 50 points to unlock the gluttony skill. The next moment, detailed information about the gluttony skill appears before him. In gluttony state, all consumed food will be completely converted into energy. When eating magical creatures with blood abilities, you can acquire that creature's abilities. So I can absorb monster abilities? I should have unlocked this before starting the exam. As for energy conversion, I'll have to try it to know. Just then, a dark shadow instantly devours the meat in Zeke's hand. In no time, a shadow appears beneath Zeke's feet. Like sinking into a swamp, the meat instantly disappears into the shadow. The absorbed ability supplements insufficient energy. At this moment, he can feel not only mental fatigue, but also physical fatigue and even ether being restored. This is amazing. With this skill, I can reduce the side effects of all skills. Brain fatigue can be solved with gluttony. Physical fatigue isn't felt due to unlimited stamina. This way, I can train without eating or sleeping. Just then, Decker reports something important to Zeke. Young master, your sword is ready. So Zeke goes to the blacksmith shop. Currently, he's holding the sword and examining it carefully. From its appearance, it's a very crude sword. Zeke asks, did you intentionally not temper it? But Galleon says this is the sword's original form. Zeke says, you mean this form of sword is most suitable for me? Of course, Galleon confirms. Zeke thinks anyone else would find this absurd, but he saw through my intention. At this moment, Galleon slowly begins to speak. This sword doesn't have a name yet. Although I wanted to name it, I couldn't think of anything. Why don't you name it yourself? In his previous life, Galleon named this sword the Sword of Light, but now he says he can't name it. I thought it was just the Sword of Light with a dragon fang altering its appearance, but it seems this is a completely different sword. Then Zeke cuts open his arm and pauses his healing factor. The next moment, he drips his blood onto the sword. Seeing this, Galleon is shocked. Is this the sword naming ceremony? The sword naming ceremony is a dwarven tradition for naming weapons. Let the weapon touch blood infused with aura and magic. During the ceremony, the performer enters a deep unconscious state until finding the sword's name. They wander in infinite time. How does Zeke know this long-forgotten, ancient ritual? What's going on? Meanwhile, Zeke has already entered his consciousness, wandering among countless names, just to find this sword's name. The next moment, a huge black dragon circles around him. Black Sword, Bahamut. Then, a notification window appears in front. Black Sword Bahamut registered as your weapon. Zeke is surprised that what he worked so hard to recover is actually the name of that evil dragon. A moment later, Zeke bandages his wound and explains, I discovered this ritual while studying dwarven history. Just then, Galleon slowly says, please rest a bit. I have something I want to give you. Meanwhile, Zeke looks at his left hand and falls into deep thought. Being able to pause skills that can be activated at any time is a major discovery. This way, I can avoid powerful figures like Duke discovering my abilities. No need to reveal all my cards. But anyway, let's look at this sword now. Black Sword Bahamut, special ability, indestructible, can convert other powers into aura. Note, currently in sealed state, will unlock according to user's growth. Unlocking the seal according to the user's growth? I've never heard of such a weapon. And with an indestructible property. Even though it's made from dragon fangs, this is too incredible. However, the most important thing is its ability to convert other powers into aura. Zeke spent considerable effort creating a magic furnace for Galleon to forge a sword, partly because of his excellent skills, and also for Grammar's core function, aura conversion, the exclusive ability to convert any other energy into aura. In his previous life, it was with this sword that Zeke became the Red Knight. A moment later, Galleon finally finds what he was looking for. At this moment, he reveals an extremely shocked expression and says, this is actually aura that can envelop the sword. It seems your strength has already surpassed the Purple Knight. Then he hands the scabbard to Zeke, saying, this was made by my master himself, Golan Yober. That Golan Yober, known as the most skilled blacksmith, he has unique skills among the dwarves, the continent's top blacksmith. All his creations are perfect weapons, and they also have special functions. At this moment, Zeke asks in surprise, you're actually that guy's apprentice? If Golan made it, then this definitely isn't an ordinary scabbard. Of course, just rotate the knob at the scabbard's entrance, and it instantly becomes a shield. It's made of mithril and flying dragon bone, able to withstand general attacks. Please accept this as my gift to you. But Zeke is confused. This scabbard seems a bit small. The next moment, the scabbard suddenly envelops the sword. In no time, the scabbard transforms to match the black sword's size perfectly. Indeed, Golan's creations are beyond imagination. Scene change, Zeke looks at the equipment in his hand and falls into thought. Meteorite iron. Isn't that a rare material? Gauntlet information, gauntlets made of meteorite iron. Complete the meteorite iron set to activate exclusive ability. This was in the random box from the sudden task. I thought it would be similar to a treasure box. Didn't expect it to contain something even more valuable. Now let's check the second box. When Zeke opens the box, he looks very confused. What is this? At this moment, he takes out a map. Then a notification window appears. You have discovered Hero King Caesar's map. Hero King Caesar and the Knights of the Clock Tower is the continent's most popular book. It describes the biography of the hero king and knights building a civilized nation called Kronos. But those contents are too absurd, and there's no evidence to prove the legend's authenticity. At this moment, Zeke is surprised. I didn't expect the Hero King to actually exist. Then he analyzes the map. Is this the giant mountains? This is the barbarian domain. It seems this matter might be easier to resolve than I thought. Meanwhile, a notification window appears in front. Based on user level, ending novice tutorial. The next moment, the window discovers a quest item. Achievement quest, Hero King Caesar's relic. Explore the Hero King's relic and find the Hero King's secret technique. No time limit. Quest reward junior authority upgraded to intermediate. I see the novice tutorial is for improving system level. So now I should start completing formal quests? If so, I'll take all these rewards. Then Zeke uses many points to unlock the second stage of Dragon Race skills. Acquired skills Dragon Scale Armor and Dragon Claw, each requiring 80 points to unlock. Seeing this, Zeke immediately chooses to unlock both skills, leaving him with only 400 points. Now let's try the Dragon Claw skill first. He swings out a claw with tremendous power, instantly tearing the ground. This power far exceeds his imagination. Then Zeke uses the Dragon Scale Armor skill on his left hand and swings his sword at it. But the next moment, the heavy sword is sent flying dozens of meters away. Even without wearing equipment, the effect seems harder than armor. Dragon Claw for attack, Dragon Scale for defense. These two skills are quite good. Scene change. In the Draker Academy training field, everyone is preparing for the Sword Aura exam for term evaluation. The instructor says, these puppets are made of special materials that normal arm strength cannot leave marks on, but using Sword Aura can easily destroy them. If you cannot destroy or leave marks on them, you will be deemed unqualified, regardless of how good your previous evaluations were, and will have to start learning from the basics again. Hearing this, everyone is extremely shocked. Does that mean we can't advance? Then the instructor announces the official start of the exam, while Owen falls into thought nearby. This is actually his usual method for training Sword Aura, and the Academy's Sword Aura education was established by the Gemins family. Even pure blood awakeners are no match for him in controlling Sword Aura. The instructor calls out, next, Owen. At this moment, he slowly draws his long sword. A long sword cry resonates throughout the training field. Seeing this, the instructors are shocked. A sword cry, as expected of someone from a powerful family. Meanwhile, Owen quickly swings his long sword in the exam field. In no time, deep sword marks are left on all the puppets. Seeing this, the audience is utterly shocked. as expected of Gmons. At this rate, surpassing Lord Abel is just a matter of time. The next moment, Owen instantly shakes off the instructor's hand, then walks angrily toward the audience. A moment later, many examinees perform quite poorly. Everyone seems depressed by Owen's performance, but so far no one has failed. It seems the special class is indeed different. Soon it's Rena's turn to take the exam. At this moment, she slowly says, "Instructor, I have a request. I hope you can evaluate me using the dragon slaying method." Hearing this, the instructor is shocked. That's the evaluation standard for senior students. Using sword aura and wielding the dragon slaying method are completely different levels of difficulty. Inputting aura into a sword only requires superior attention, but the dragon slaying method requires allocating aura to each move, needing precise control. At this moment, Owen feels a sense of joy. "Rena, you're embarrassing yourself. Your sword aura will dissipate after just a few swings," while the concerned instructor says, "This will make the exam stricter." "Are you sure?" Rena confirms. Then Rena slowly gathers sword aura. The next moment, a figure quickly flashes through the puppet group, accompanied by flashes of sword light. In no time, the surrounding puppets are completely destroyed by Rena. At this moment, everyone is astounded. They thought Owen was the strongest, but compared to Rena, they're worlds apart. Owen isn't happy. "Damn, Rena stole my spotlight again." Just then, Rena points her sword forward. Owen thinks, "Damn, is she going to mock me publicly?" No, she's never been interested in me from the beginning. After Rena completes her exam, Zeke feels helpless. Zeke thinks, "She's staring at me so intently, I can't pretend not to see. Since that's the case, I'll agree. Instructor, please evaluate me using the dragon slaying method too." Hearing this, one instructor says disapprovingly, "Do you think you're Rena? Think the dragon slaying method is easy to demonstrate?" But another instructor agrees, saying, "The conditions are the same as Rena's, is that okay?" "Of course," Zeke confirms. At this moment, one instructor asks puzzledly, "Why did you agree to him? I've never seen him in class." The other instructor says, "Zeke made a bet with instructor Andre. Zeke won, so he doesn't have to attend classes. He's the first pure blood awakener to exhibit golden light. In the dungeon exploration exam, he broke Lord Abel's record. He is the rumored Jike Drake. Meanwhile, Zeke is converting ether into sword aura through his greatsword. This is harder than I imagined, but this level should be enough." At this time, Zeke slowly raises his greatsword. The next moment, Rena reveals an extremely shocked expression. This is the dragon slaying method. Chapter 1, Section 1, Heaven Breaking Stance. Damn. His posture is perfect enough to rival instructor Andre. With a figure flashing past, Zeke has already perfectly demonstrated the dragon slaying method. The dragon slaying method I used until I was sick of it in my previous life. Demonstrating it from the basics is quite nice. This level should be enough to stimulate Rena. Meanwhile, the surrounding voices make Zeke's heart skip a beat. Did he just envelop his sword with sword aura? Is Zeke already a purple knight? Zeke thinks, "Damn, was I too absorbed? So I unconsciously revealed sword aura. This is trouble. I've drawn attention again." At this moment, the two instructors reveal incredulous expressions. A first-year student has reached the purple knight level. Even Owen can't help but start trembling, while Rena seems excited. Scene change. The principal summons Zeke. The principal says, "I heard you achieved an amazing score in the exam. Reaching the purple knight level at 13, you're really impressive. Zeke, would you like to take the grade skipping exam?" And Zeke asks confusedly, "Does grade skipping mean skipping first year?" The principal says, "Of course, it could be even more. After all, it's a system prepared for excellent students like you." He took the bait so quickly. "After all, I've done so many attention-grabbing things." Without any hesitation, Zeke immediately agrees. "Although I don't know what scheme they have, I'm willing to play along." Meanwhile, the principal contacts someone, saying, "Both Rena and Zeke have agreed to take the grade skipping exam." The other person says, "Then arrange it like that." The principal says, "Yes, I understand. Things are getting more and more interesting." Elsewhere, in the Draker Academy Advanced Class Aura training room, Zeke and Rena are arranged to come here. Then a figure suddenly appears before the two. This is the high-level knight from the main family in charge of today's grade-skipping exam, AWL Draker. Hearing this, Zeke is extremely shocked. Is this the Willow Sword? In his previous life, Zeke encountered this person. He originally thought it was the Empire's hound finding him again, but later he discovered AWL didn't seem to have any hostility toward him. He just wanted to properly bury his teammates. Seeing this, Zeke handed him some tools, saying, "Let me help you. Even if you don't want me to, I'll still help. I'm Zeke from the Northern United team. You're from the Draker family, right?" At this moment, he slowly responds, "No, I've abandoned the Draker surname." Zeke says, "Then what should I call you?" He says, "Just call me Willow Sword." All? It certainly fits the cold name Willow Sword. But still, Draker actually sent a high-level knight to be responsible for a first-year grade-skipping exam. High-level knights are the pillars of Draker. It's a senior position only given to those with martial prowess, reputation, and experience. Meanwhile, the instructor begins to announce the exam rules. The exam is a sword duel. As long as you don't lose consciousness or surrender, you can continue challenging. Please use all your talents freely. Just as Rena prepares to be the first to take the exam, All slowly says, "No need to do it one-on-one. Attack me together." After All makes this bold statement, Rena is about to launch an attack, but is stopped by Zeke. Zeke says, "Don't be angry. You know the power difference between him and us. Besides, the exam has already started. If you had rashly charged over just now, you would definitely lose points." Hearing this, Rena immediately calms down. She says, "Zeke Draker, what do you need me to do?" Zeke says, "In this situation, I have a good battle plan that can severely wound him with one strike." A moment later, both sides stand in their positions. A strange sword from the Eastern Empire with a blade on only one side, called a ring knife. I didn't expect him to have been using this weapon since before. Rena looks very dissatisfied, but for the weak, honor and self-esteem don't count for much. But now let's focus on how to implement the plan. The next moment, both of them launch fierce attacks at AWL, but all are blocked by him with a raised hand. Following All's draw cut, the two quickly distance themselves. At this moment, Rena is shocked, so this is the power of a high-level knight. Following Zeke's instructions, targeting blind spots for attacks, but until now, they haven't even touched a hair on AWL. The next second, Rena slowly gathers aura, using the dragon slaying method chapter 3 section 1, half moon slash. Must attack with the mindset of killing him. At this moment, a crescent moon slash instantly flies toward Abiel, but he dodges it by sidestepping. Then he kicks Rena hard, sending her flying dozens of meters away. Seeing this, the bystanders are very concerned. "Rena, are you okay?" Rena says, "I have no problem, but it's dangerous here. You'd better stay away." Creating an opening? "With my strength, I can't do it. But you can do it, Zeke Draker." Initially, Rena disdained participating in Zeke's battle plan. Zeke said, "This isn't a night battle or sport. It's an exam. He's testing and evaluating our combat ability." Rena said, "I understand. I'll participate in your battle plan. But do you think this plan will work? After all, he's a high-level knight." Zeke said, "Then let's create a situation where we can use the plan." Zeke continued, "During the duel from the cradle, why couldn't you dodge the stone I threw?" Rena said, "That's because I didn't expect you to use such methods." Zeke said, "That's it. High-level knights are the same as you. When the time comes, I'll signal you. This move will definitely be very effective. Just creating a small opening is enough." Meanwhile, Zeke uses the dragon-slaying method dragon form and swift wind shadowless step to quickly approach AWL. Seeing this, Aol is somewhat surprised. "Isn't this Lord Duke's footwork?" Then, Zeke suddenly swings his sword at him. The next second, the surrounding lights suddenly go out. All thinks, "I see," using the Pure Blood Awakener's hinder mana property. This is indeed a tactic children would think of. But just because vision is blocked, you think a high-level knight will show an opening? At this moment, a strong sense of incongruity suddenly comes over All, shocking him. Even he can only vaguely see forms in darkness. But Zeke seems to see everything clearly. All doesn't seem like someone who would tell others about this. Meanwhile, Zeke slowly activates the Dragon Claw skill. Perfect chance to try the new skill. The next moment, a huge dragon claw suddenly attacks AWL. Seeing this, he immediately swings his sword to block it. Shocked, is this really a student's sword strike? No, this doesn't look like a sword strike at all, but Zeke's strength has long exceeded the level of normal students. Rena definitely can't move as freely as Zeke in darkness. Excluding unnecessary combat power, limiting my actions, this move only works against opponents of similar strength. The next second, both sides launch fierce offensive again, and Zeke is surprised he adapted to fighting in darkness so quickly. At this moment, All heavily brings down his sword. Disappeared, can only vaguely see forms, feels like fighting a shadow. Just then, All swings his sword to the side. It's actually a magic lamp. At this moment, Zeke has already cut down all the magic lamps. The sound of falling magic lamps covers the sound made by Zeke. The next moment, Zeke suddenly swings his sword at him. Zeke shouts, "Rena, now!" along with Zeke throwing a bottle into the air. This is the bottle Zeke asked the professor to make earlier. Inside are flash and sound magic. The next second, a sound wave and a flash of light burst forth. The huge noise causes All to cover his ears. All thinks, "Damn, they caught me off guard." Meanwhile, Rena seizes this opportunity to attack AWL. Even Zeke quickly attacks him too. But just then, All uses the full moon slash from the dragon slaying method to counter both their attacks, sending both flying dozens of meters away. Damn, this guy is just too strong. At this moment, everyone is unsettled. Is he really a pure blood awakened? But the mana lamp clearly didn't react at all. Could the bronze statue be broken? Zeke knows that if he speaks now, it will certainly arouse everyone's suspicion. Just then, Abel claps his hands and says, "Why is everyone so serious? This term we have 2 pure blood awakened ones. Isn't this something worth celebrating?" Hearing this, the nobles present all agree, "That's right, this is something worth celebrating." Then he gestures to his subordinate, "What are you standing there for? Quickly get gloves for Zeke." Shortly after, Zeke puts on the special gloves. "I know this guy's intentions all too well. My mood is absolutely terrible." Meanwhile, the instructor announces to everyone, "The blessing ceremony ends here. There will be a celebration party later. Please enjoy yourselves." Zeke is thinking about leaving this place. The next moment, Abel calls out to him, "Zeke, where are you rushing off to? Congratulations on your pure blood awakening." Then he extends his right hand to Zeke. At this moment, Zeke falls into contemplation. If he refuses, Abel will definitely sense his hostility. Perhaps he should cooperate with him for now. The next second, images of Abel's inhumane actions flash before his eyes. Then Zeke refuses his handshake. Seeing this, Abel displays an extremely contemptuous expression and says, "You're making me uncomfortable, Zeke." Zeke's expression expression becomes firm. Even if it means death, he will never shake Abel's hand. At this moment, Abel slowly speaks, "No choice then. Seeing you is enough." So until next time, Zeke. Of course, we will definitely meet again. Scene changes, Zeke returns to his room. But why didn't anything happen? All pure-blood awakened ones possess the characteristic of interfering with mana, indicating they have abilities completely opposite to mana biological dragons. But most equipment is powered by mana, and pure-blood awakened ones need gloves provided by their families. If one truly is a pure-blood awakened, problems would definitely occur after removing the gloves. Then Zeke opens his status window. It's completely different from before, not interfering with mana, but reflecting mana. It seems he needs to analyze this slowly. Mana reflection can use distorted magnetic fields to make surrounding mana lose its effectiveness. Is mana reflection actually classified as a skill? Because it doesn't activate all the time, so the mana lamp wasn't affected, and before the ceremony, it was a rare profession. But now it's a unique immortal, but he quickly notices something strange. All students emit blue light as ordinary awakened ones. Only Rena has the red light of a pure blood awakened. While he started with red light, but later changed to gold. The system once mentioned that the identification equipment lacked some information. Could the equipment refer to that bronze statue? And when the system input information, the previously unresponsive bronze statue emitted red light. At this moment, he suddenly realizes the bronze statue doesn't determine whether one is awakened, but confirms if the user has qualifications. Rare professions are red, unique professions are gold. It's just that in this life, the concept of professions disappeared, so it became a tool to confirm awakening. To the extent that rare professions are called pure blood awakening by them. Has no family head ever discovered this issue? And he suddenly realizes he has achievement points, probably obtained at that time. So he chooses to use them without hesitation. The next second, countless window prompts appear. Dragon skills unlocked. Dragon Eye, Dragon Majesty, and Gluttony skills need more achievement points to activate. But what does gluttony mean? Eat a lot, digest quickly? Although he doesn't know what it is, it looks very good. Then Zeke unlocks the Dragon Eye and Dragon Majesty skills. The next second, he suddenly activates the Dragon Eye skill, but there doesn't seem to be much change. However, he quickly notices something strange, because the bronze statue in the courtyard looks like it's right in front of him. I didn't expect this would be so useful. Just then, a window prompt appears. Do you need to mark the information of the discovered items? The next second, detailed information of all surrounding items appears before his eyes. Then Zeke suddenly loses all his strength. It seems this long skill is quite formidable, but soon he restores his strength through healing magic. Just then, he notices his healing factor has improved. Wounds on the body will automatically heal. This is truly amazing. This can practically be considered immortality. Then he takes a small knife and makes a cut on his hand. In no time, the wound on his hand heals instantly. Do I really need to stay at the academy for 5 full years to graduate? I think 2 years is enough. After mastering the Dragon Eye skill, Zeke comes to Draker Academy, the top knight academy on the continent. Every spring during the new semester, the entire capital is filled with vitality. I didn't expect the senior students here to be just like adults. Their bodies are trained to perfection. But compared to us graduates from the cradle, they're still far behind. Just then, Zeke notices nobles nearby. It seems they've already established their own factions. Among the numerous branch families supporting the Draker family, there are 3 major families with the most influence. The Thune family of strength, the Gemmons family of intelligence, and the Walter family of gold. Have the children of these 3 families all established their own factions? But this doesn't matter to me at all. Scene changes. Zeke arrives at the high-end dormitory for pure blood awakened ones, the Platinum Apartment. A high-end dormitory equipped with training grounds, libraries, and various convenient facilities. Only the top students can live here, and pure blood awakened ones are given the privilege of floor management. A moment later, a group of servants are welcoming Zeke's arrival. He is quite shocked. Even for pure bloods, this is too extravagant. Just then, Decker finds Zeke, stating he has something to deliver to him. It turns out to be a new pair of gloves. Now that I've received new gloves, I'll take this opportunity to forge a new sword. Regarding this idea, Decker shows agreement. Troy Principality is near the giant mountain range, known for producing quality iron ore and excellent craftsmen. It's rumored that the first weapons of knights who graduate from the academy are made in Troy. At this moment, Decker slowly says, "Do you need me to find a good craftsman for you?" Zeke says, "No need, because I've already found a suitable candidate." Saying this, he hands a card with a name written on it to Decker. Decker says, "Galleon Halport? This is the first time I've heard this name. I'll contact him immediately. By the way, here are materials you'll need for tomorrow's class. Please take some time to review them." Then, Decker leaves, while Zeke falls into contemplation. As long as I live in the Platinum Apartment, I can freely practice long skills. Just then, a servant nearby says, "Miss Rena invites you to dine together." It's Rena. Let me go see. Scene changes. Zeke arrives at Rena's floor. Rena says, "Welcome, Zeke." Rena snaps her fingers, and the next second, her attendants turn and leave. She says, "I'm sorry, the people of our family are somewhat special. Let's get to the main topic after we finish our meal." Scene changes. Now Zeke is deep in thought, worthy of being called the Shining Knight. She's using her Dantian to control aura, already reaching the level of a purple knight. But why is her swordsmanship so rigid? It's a waste of her talent. A moment later, having finished the meal, Rena gets to the main point. She says, "Zeke, accept the help of the Thune family." Hearing this, Zeke is very puzzled. "Have you forgotten that I'm a pure blood awakened like you? It seems you have some misunderstandings about pure blood awakened ones." Rena says, "We indeed get many benefits, like this platinum apartment, but we won't receive any training resources. The academy has accumulated centuries of academic and practical experience, a personal coach who can effectively improve your abilities. If you don't have these, even with your talent, you'll eventually be eliminated. So you need a family that can help you." Even Abel, the current Red Knight, received help from the Gemins family. Although the Thune family head didn't tell me the reason, it seems you haven't received any additional help, right? I'll say it again, accept the help of the Thune family, but Zeke immediately refuses. Rena is instantly shocked. She says, "Why? The Thune family's help would be good for you." Zeke slowly speaks, "It's not because of these things, but because I don't need any favors beyond being a pure blood awakened. Since you sincerely invited me for a meal, I'll give you some advice. Your swordsmanship has too much follow-through force. I guess you might be too concerned about those behind you. Listen carefully. Your strength is the flexibility that comes from your resilient body. Don't directly accept attacks and defeat your opponents with force. Instead, use your flexible body to avoid the opponent's attacks. Then take the opportunity to deliver a precise strike to the enemy. If you can do these things, you'll definitely be stronger than you are now." Hearing this, Rena says, somewhat dissatisfied, "Strength is the symbol of the Thune family. I'm just following family tradition." But Rena thinks he's not wrong. She has always been trapped in the family's ideology, and all this is unconsciously reflected in her sword. Did he see through me? Everyone has praised me as a genius since childhood, but no one has ever given me any advice. Zeke, who exactly are you? After giving Rena advice, Zeke is walking towards the dormitory. In his previous life, this place was like hell for him, but after becoming a pure blood awakened, everything has changed. This place is practically like heaven. Just then, a voice calls out to him. "Zeke, are you also in the special class?" Owen Gemins is the third son of the Gemins family. In his previous life, he bullied Zeke. He's someone good at pretending to be nice. Now he slowly speaks, "Yesterday I invited you to dinner. Why didn't you reply? That letter on the table yesterday? Don't joke around. Why should I reply to you?" The next second, a tall figure blocks Zeke's path. The person says, "Zeke, how dare you ignore the young master's goodwill?" Zeke is very curious about who this person is. The person says, "I can understand your desire to please the young master, but you should also know who you're challenging." At the same time, Zeke waves his hand to block the attack. Then both sides distance themselves from each other. "I didn't expect the senior students here to all use aura." Now he slowly speaks, "My name is Debon Roswell. People here call me Mighty Debon. I'll teach you a lesson on behalf of young Master Owen." Mighty Debon? A guy who isn't even a knight dares to take such a nickname. The next second, Zeke smoothly comes to his front, then delivers a punch infused with aura, immediately sending him flying dozens of meters away. Zeke says, "So, after Mighty Debon, who's next? Decide quickly, young Master Owen." At this moment, Owen slowly walks to Zeke's side and says, "Don't be too arrogant, Zeke." Then they turn and leave. Draker Academy is broadly divided into two types of classes. One is the ordinary class, with scheduled courses and learning objectives from morning to night. The other is the special class, where students can freely choose courses except for basic ones. It's a class composed of the Academy's top students. Now Zeke is showing complete indifference. "I didn't expect everyone here to be graduates from the cradle." Just then, the professor slowly says, "To encourage the new students of the special class, we've invited a distinguished guest today, the captain of the Eastern Empire team 20 years ago, the hero who organized the invasion of the Empire with his strategic mind, Principal Howard Draker." Battle hero Howard, although called a hero strategist, is actually a despicable person. Just by coincidence, he disrupted the enemy's plans and ended up becoming a hero. And most importantly, in the previous life, it was this guy who expelled Zeke from the academy, forcing Zeke to wander in the Troy Principality, eventually being sold as a slave to Kalutel in the south, and Zeke swears he will make him pay for all of this. At this moment, the professor slowly says, "Before we start class, please bring your swords and meet at the training field." Shortly after, everyone arrives at the indoor training field. Dragon Slaying Basics is actually a required course for the special class. In the previous life, because he couldn't use aura, Zeke spent 2 years learning what could be completed in 3 months. At this moment, the professor slowly speaks. "I am Andre, responsible for the Dragon Slaying Basics course for the special class." Hearing this, the crowd begins to discuss. He seems to be wearing Draker's formal uniform. Could he be the red-eyed knight Andre? He's not a pure blood awakened, but he graduated early from the academy with the first place ranking. He's a genius, awarded the title of Draker. But Zeke appears very surprised the special class teachers are at such a high level. He's known for his inflexibility. The next second, he gestures for everyone to quiet down. At this time, he notices the heavy sword Zeke is carrying on his back. He asks, "What's with that sword?" Hearing this, Zeke immediately draws the heavy sword and swings it a few times, then says, "As you can see, this is the sword I can use." Andre is very puzzled and says, "Don't you know that students should choose swords according to their physical conditions?" At this moment, Zeke is very helpless. He already knew this sword would cause a stir. He says, "If I can defeat the teacher with this sword, can I skip the explanation?" Hearing this, Andre immediately releases a powerful aura, but it's blocked by Zeke's hard mental defense skill. Andre draws his sword and says, "As long as your sword can touch my sword, I won't pursue your disrespect this time, and I'll exempt you from the dragon slaying basics course." The next second, a powerful aura instantly rushes towards Zeke. Andre slowly speaks, "Don't worry, I won't use aura against students." Hearing this, Zeke reveals a smile. He knows Andre's weakness, so he should be able to win. But now he's being watched by Abel. If he attracts attention, it could cause big trouble. "I'll surrender when I touch his clothes." The next second, Zeke quickly executes a sword-drawing strike, but it's instantly blocked by Andre. Seeing this, Zeke is very shocked. Truly worthy of being a Blue Knight. Defeating him shouldn't be an easy task. Then Zeke launches a particularly fierce offensive against him. Meanwhile, the onlookers are all extremely shocked. Draker's formal knight is indeed different. They've been fighting for a full 30 minutes. Zeke hasn't even touched instructor Andre's clothes, but what they don't know is that Andre's right hand has already started trembling, and he's very shocked by Zeke's terrifying stamina. Without using aura, it should be very difficult to defeat Zeke. He thinks, indeed, the Pure Blood Awakened team is very disadvantageous. At the same time, Zeke looks at Andre and falls into contemplation. His stamina is still so poor, and without using aura, his stamina is even more insufficient. Draker's proficiency in aura is famously strange. It's not just used in training, but in daily life as well. Aura has become a part of people's lives like breathing. And now, Andre is like holding his breath. Plus irregular swordsmanship, Andre will consume energy even faster. If this continues, I won't even be able to pretend to lose to him. Just then, Zeke suddenly thinks of a solution. I just need to induce him to use aura. After all, letting him win now has no meaning. The next second, Zeke suddenly uses the quick step skill. Now Zeke's figure continuously appears around Andre. Just as Andre looks shocked, Zeke has already leaped into the air, then uses the skill, one-hit kill. At this critical moment, Andre suddenly pulls away, then concentrates aura on his sword, followed by a heavy strike towards Zeke, immediately sending Zeke flying dozens of meters away. Seeing this, Rena can't help but show a worried expression. Damn, I didn't expect it would hurt so much, but now it's time to fall down. The next second, Zeke suddenly collapses on the ground. Seeing this, Andre silently sheathes his sword and says, "You don't need to attend my class anymore." Then Andre asks the crowd, "Is there anyone else who doesn't want to attend my class?" Hearing this, the audience all show extremely terrified expressions. Andre continues, "Then I'll consider the rest as participants." Scene changes, Zeke is lying on a hospital bed. Although he didn't touch Andre's clothes, in the end, Andre had to use aura. This means he has acknowledged Zeke's strength. From the results, Andre has disciplined the class, and Zeke has gained freedom in terms of time. At this moment, he recalls Andre's final strike. This is Cleave the Sky from Chapter 1, Section 1 of the Dragon Slaying Rules, but even Zeke didn't expect the Blue Knight's use of this move would be so powerful. The reason he could hold his own against the Blue Knight is because he has healing abilities in his body, but these alone are far from enough to live a free life. To not be bound by others, one needs immensely powerful strength that doesn't need to submit to anyone. Just then, a figure appears before Zeke. He says, "So you're Arthur's youngest son." Zeke is very shocked. Who is this guy? At this moment, the red-haired uncle asks Zeke his doubt. "Kid, how did you do it just now? You clearly suffered severe internal injuries, but why did you recover in an instant? Could he have detected the healing ability?" And Zeke quickly calms down. No one in the academy knows about healing abilities, so he chooses to continue pretending not to know. The next second, the uncle swiftly chops towards Zeke. Seeing this, he immediately sidesteps to dodge, then throws a white bedsheet. Just as the uncle loses sight, Zeke suddenly activates several skills, then swings his giant sword heavily toward the uncle, but the next second, the uncle easily blocks his attack. Now the uncle slowly says, "Your ability to adapt is excellent." Just like in Soldier, Zeke is puzzled. Who is this person? Why does he say I'm like in Soldier? Could he know about my previous life? Just then, the uncle slowly speaks. "As a member of the Draker family, you dropped your sword and ran away. It seems you're more suited to be a soldier than a knight." But Zeke looks at the uncle and falls into contemplation. This guy's strength is at least at the level of a red knight. At this moment, the uncle says, "This is a broad-blade greatsword issued by the cradle, right? With your strength so good, why are you using such a weapon?" Just as Zeke is about to respond, a figure appears behind Zeke. It's Andre who says, "So you are here, courtyard manager Mr. Dexter." Hearing this, Zeke is very puzzled. This guy is actually the courtyard manager. Just then, Andre's voice sounds again. "Weren't you at the training field just now? How did you come here so quickly?" "Student, if your wounds are healed, please go back quickly," as Zeke is about to turn and leave. The uncle says, "If you have time, Come to the greenhouse on the west side of the academy. I will teach you some good things. Zeke immediately refuses. This temper is exactly the same as Arthur's. Courtyard manager Dexter? This must be a fake identity. His status is high enough to directly call Draker family head Arthur by name, Andre's only teacher in this life. Duke Draker, known as the Wind Knight. His strength alone can rival the entire kingdom, one of the legendary Black Knights. When he suddenly disappeared, it caused a sensation across the continent. I didn't expect he was hiding here. I heard Duke is a person with deep obsessions. It said he became a Black Knight because he liked the color black. And Zeke is very interested in Duke. But since he wants to give me guidance, I definitely won't miss his ultimate move. I want to turn his interest into an obsession. Scene changes. Now magic theory lecturer Pinon is teaching. He says, does anyone know how to solve this situation? However, no one is willing to answer him. Just then, Zeke raises his hand and slowly says, Professor, I don't quite understand the mana conversion drive you just explained. Hearing this, the professor immediately becomes interested. It's the first time a student has asked him a question. A moment later, as everyone is about to leave the classroom, the professor calls out to Zeke, it's rare to meet such a studious student like you. If you want to know anything, you can come to my research room. I was a student at Delphi Magic University and received many scholarships. Hearing this, Zeke is surprised. Although I knew he wasn't an ordinary magician, I didn't expect he was from Delphi Magic University. Without any hesitation, Zeke immediately agrees. After all, having a good relationship with a magician has no disadvantages. Magicians who are good at calculations have more open minds, more suitable as partners than rigid knights. Pinon? Let me see if he's useful. Just then, Zeke notices nearby. Duke is lying on a bench. He's curious why Zeke didn't go to the greenhouse to find him. He says, I should have told you I would teach you good things, right? To this, Zeke says, didn't I already refuse at that time? At this moment, Zeke slowly speaks. I know your skills are excellent, but I'm busy training and don't have time. Meanwhile, Duke smoothly comes behind Zeke, and before Zeke can react, he's knocked unconscious with one strike. When Zeke regains consciousness, he finds himself at the greenhouse on the west side of the academy. Zeke says, did you kidnap me? Duke says, yes, I did bring you here. I'm very interested in you. Now even inner thoughts are spoken directly. He seems to be somewhat anxious. Just as Zeke is about to use quick step to escape, the next second, Duke has already moved behind him. As he slowly raises his left hand, Zeke is instantly forced to stop. This guy is still playing with me. And Zeke asks puzzledly, what exactly about me interests you? Duke says, how did you instantly heal your internal injuries at that time? It seems he's very concerned about this. Zeke says, if you're so curious, why not try it yourself? Hearing this, Duke immediately disappears from the spot, just as Zeke looks confused. The next second, Zeke's greatsword is motionless as it comes toward him. Seeing this, Zeke immediately sidesteps to dodge, then turns to block it, saying, what do you mean by this? Duke says, didn't you say to let me try? But that was really too easy. Why don't we make a bet? If you can touch my sleeve with your sword, I'll grant you one wish. But if you choose to give up, you must tell me all your secrets. After Duke proposed the condition, 3 hours have now passed, and Duke is shocked. What's with this kid? He can not only take hits and fight, but also has abundant stamina, and he can endlessly repair his injuries. Could this guy? Just then, Zeke uses healing skills to treat himself. Although he could persist for a whole day, he definitely won't win this bet. Dragon Majesty. This skill has never been used because it's too dangerous. But against a Black Knight, it should be fine. The next second, Zeke suddenly bursts out with powerful Chi. Seeing this, Duke is very surprised. This kid's eyes have become much sharper. That's more like it. Zeke slowly concentrates Chi. The next second, Zeke uses quick step to instantly execute a sword drawing strike. This kid just keeps repeating the same attack. Compared to that super fast guy and the Thune family's daughter, he's quite ordinary. But the trace revealed in his eyes is really likable. Just as he's hesitating whether to use a little aura, Zeke activates Dragon's Majesty. In an instant, Duke breaks out in a cold sweat, then smashes Zeke's greatsword with one punch, and he's puzzled about what just happened. Just then, Zeke raises a cloud of dust. As Duke searches for Zeke's whereabouts, he has already moved behind Duke. With the activation of Dragon Eye, Zeke quickly swings a sword at Duke, but the next second, the slash passes through Duke's body. Then, Duke turns into a gust of wind and disappears. Seeing this, Zeke appears extremely shocked. Could this be Duke's ultimate move? Creating wind from normal speed walking, that's why he's called the Wind Knight. Now, Duke appears behind him saying, let's call this match a draw. The next second, Duke suddenly delivers a heavy punch, sending Zeke flying dozens of meters away. Now a window prompt appears. You have exceeded the allowed fatigue range due to excessive use of skills. Then Zeke slowly closes his eyes due to extreme fatigue. At this moment, Zeke reveals a smile and says, you haven't even told me your true identity, have you? Courtyard manager, Mr. Dexter. In the next second, Duke throws Zeke back into the room and says, kid, you're right. I was once the Black Knight of Draker. Duke Draker. Seeing this, Zeke immediately expresses his apologies. I have been disrespectful to a family elder. Please forgive me. Duke says, so you were waiting for me to tell the truth all along? Zeke curiously asks, Lord Duke, what do you mean when you say you were once a Black Knight? Duke says, nothing special, just that I used to be black, and now I'm red. Hearing this, Zeke is very surprised. but I thought knight ranks can only go up, not down. At this moment, Duke slowly says, let's not talk about this now. Of course, I will tell you the truth later. I recognized you from the beginning, and I just wanted to become your official disciple. At this moment, Duke reveals a slight smile and says, you really have some guts, kid. All right, I'll take you as my disciple then. Hearing this, Zeke is very surprised. Was it really that easy? Afterwards, Zeke recites the discipleship oath to Duke. At the same time, Zeke asks Duke the question on his mind, what did you see in me that made you accept me as your disciple? After all, Duke is famous for not taking disciples. Even the century genius Andre had to pursue him for several years before becoming his only disciple. But Zeke can probably guess the reason. When he crossed swords with Duke, Duke realized that Zeke has the potential to surpass Andre. At this moment, Duke slowly says, why don't you guess? Zeke says, is it because I'm talented? Duke says, don't joke around. If that were the case, I would have taken Thune family's daughter as my disciple long ago. I like your fierce personality. Even geniuses can't all reach the black or red level. Growing up too smoothly makes it easy to collapse at the first setback. Indeed, he's right. Among those geniuses who could reach the red knight level, most of them end up stopping at purple. Just then, Duke slowly says to Zeke, now I'll take you to your first lesson. The scene changes, and Duke has brought Zeke to the training ground beneath the greenhouse. Zeke is very curious. Why has Master been making me run all this time? I've been running for 3 hours already. At this moment, Duke calls for Zeke to stop. Duke says, I want to ask you a question. Zeke says, of course. What question do you want to ask, teacher? In the next second, Duke flashes behind Zeke and says nothing special, then he grabs his right hand. Seeing this, Zeke immediately struggles to break free, then he quickly distances himself. Seeing this, Duke is very confused. Are you unwilling to let me check your pulse? Hearing this, Zeke immediately breaks out in a cold sweat. Duke says, I found it strange from the beginning, when we fought in the treatment room, when we made a bet in the greenhouse, and just now when you ran 500 laps in the training ground, I couldn't sense any aura from you, and you're not willing to let me check your pulse. Could it be that you can't use aura? Now he's very curious. He says, didn't the bronze statue react that time? And it even emitted an unprecedented golden light. If that's the case, why aren't you willing to let me check your pulse? Hearing this, Zeke quickly realizes that he's not suspicious, just genuinely curious. A Draker being unable to use chi is a big deal, yet he puts his curiosity first. Fortunately, it's Duke. If someone else discovered he couldn't use aura before getting the Sword of Light, it would be terrible. Unlike his previous life, in front of Duke, he doesn't need to lie at all. Then Zeke slowly takes off his glove. Although I have the pure blood symbol hinder mana, for some reason I can't use chi. If people found out that a Draker couldn't use aura, I would definitely be kicked out. At this moment, Duke uses aura to check his pulse. Though this child has a ruthlessness beyond his years, he is indeed still a child. But why can't he feel any aura even though he has awakened it? Duke immediately falls into deep thought. Zeke realizes that after checking his pulse, Duke is still uncertain. After all, the blessing ceremony is absolute for Drakers. Even if he truly hadn't awakened aura, he would use other excuses to deny this truth. At this moment, Duke slowly says to Zeke, could it be that you are an irregular? Irregular. As expected, that's what he thinks. Someone who doesn't know the concept of professions would definitely think this. Irregular refers to those with special abilities who can use both aura and mana. The ability to see the future is an abnormal ability, but people generally don't have a good impression of irregulares. Zeke asks puzzledly, why would you think I'm an irregular? Duke says, because you have abnormal stamina and regenerative abilities. Even minor internal injuries need time to heal, but you recovered instantly. I know that consumes a lot of energy, but do you know what that energy is? It's aura. All the aura you produce is used for stamina and regeneration. The aura is used up the moment it's generated, so I can't sense any aura from you. Zeke says, if I can never use aura, doesn't that mean I can't learn teacher skills? Hearing this, Duke laughs. Don't worry. The wind technique is a special combat technique that doesn't use aura. It's a special skill created by knights who have reached a certain level based on their own characteristics. Most typically deepen the dragon slaying method, but that requires using aura. My wind technique only requires training the body. Now watch. I'll demonstrate for you. With Duke's sudden exertion, in the next second, countless footsteps instantly appear around Zeke. In less than a moment, Duke reappears before his eyes. Duke says, did you see clearly? Zeke says, of course, I just need to follow your footsteps, right? Duke says, that's right, so give it a try. At this moment, Zeke takes a deep breath. In the next second, he quickly moves his body following the footprints left by Duke. Now he can see things through imitation that he couldn't see before. It's like practicing with someone. Each step has a very clear purpose. Each step has its use. In less than a moment, Zeke demonstrates the wind step before Duke. A week ago, his talent clearly wasn't this strong. What happened to him during this week? At this moment, Duke is incredibly shocked by this. This is truly a once-in-a-millennium talent. Zeke reveals a mischievous smile and says, this level should put me on par with a black knight, right? Duke says, you really are arrogant, kid. The scene changes, and Zeke is now wolfing down food in the dining hall. Just then, Andre finds Zeke. He curiously asks, how did you convince Mr. Dexter? At this time, Andre hasn't yet become Duke's disciple, so he must be anxious after seeing me become his disciple. Zeke says, I didn't convince him. Mr. Dexter chose me. Indeed, in the end, it's still because of pure blood, isn't it? Hearing this, Zeke puts down his cutlery and says, "You're being too self-deprecating. Do you think Mr. Dexter would be interested in me because I'm pure-blooded? I became his disciple based on my abilities. Instead of spending time showing your insecurity to fill your self-esteem, why not work hard to make him choose you? How about that?" The scene changes, and now Andre is running in the greenhouse training ground. Zeke asks puzzledly, "Master, what's going on?" Duke says, "I was about to ask you. He suddenly asked me to take him in, saying he'd even be willing to be a servant. So I told him if he could run 300 laps without using aura, I would accept him. I didn't expect him to actually start running. This guy is really stubborn." Zeke thought he was just an arrogant bookworm, but it turns out this guy has his own backbone. Shortly after Andre's discipleship ceremony, the Draker family head visits the academy. Seeing this, the principal immediately expresses a warm welcome. In the next second, the family head slowly says, "Howard, it's been a long time." The principal bows and says, "Greetings to the Master of Draker." Then the voices of the crowd rise. "Greetings to the Master of Draker." At this moment, the family head pats the principal and says, "You've worked hard." The principal says, "How can my hard work compare to the family heads? Indeed, only you understand me best, Arthur Draker, the head of the Draker family, one of the 3 transcendent families, the Dragon Slayers." Then Arthur goes to the highest point of the academy and says, "Young Dragon Slayers, you are Draker's hope and future. Train hard. Your development is Draker's development." Hearing this, everyone present kneels down and says, "We will keep this in mind, Draker family head." A moment later, Zeke is invited to Arthur's room. He bows to the family head. The family head says, "No need to be so formal. Please sit down. I heard you like tea, so I brought some good tea, hoping it suits your taste." Hearing this, Zeke is shocked. Does the family head know what I like to eat? Could he be implying that even the Emperor might not know, but Draker knows everything? Arthur says, "I called you here because I just heard that Duke recently took a disciple, which surprised me, although I don't know what. Your goal is, as long as you study well under Duke, you will definitely become the strongest on the continent." At this moment, Zeke says, "I want to become stronger than anyone. I want to live freer than anyone. That's my goal." In the next second, Arthur suddenly unleashes powerful aura. Arthur says, "It seems I'm also a target you want to surpass." Meanwhile, Zeke is already breaking out in a cold sweat, because this is the Astra sword that holds the power of life and death, the pinnacle of aura usage that only Black Knights can achieve. Without any hesitation, Zeke immediately states, "That's inevitable." Hearing this, Arthur immediately unlocks the Astra sword. This guy is a true Black Knight. He's completely different from Duke. Arthur says, "I came to the academy to check things out and encourage you, but that clearly isn't enough." Saying this, Arthur hands Zeke a card. He says, "Congratulations on becoming Duke's disciple." Seeing this, Zeke immediately appears extremely shocked. This is actually a black card. With this card, he can get the maximum discount while having unlimited spending. Arthur says, "Use this card as you wish." Zeke immediately expresses his gratitude. Zeke knows his intention. Using this card will leave records, allowing him to track Zeke's whereabouts, but he hasn't mobilized the black stage yet, indicating he hasn't taken Zeke seriously. Then Arthur signals that Zeke may leave first. Zeke says, "I understand, Lord Family Head." A moment later, Zeke slowly leaves Arthur's room. Meanwhile, Duke enters Arthur's room and says, "You're really annoying. You leave Zeke in the cradle, and now you're acting like a kind, good father." But Arthur slowly explains, "You know I'm sitting in the position of Family Head. This is unavoidable. It seems that you're the only one who can chat with me so casually." As he speaks, the Family Head takes out a bottle of juice from his pocket and says, "Why don't we drink and chat?" Arthur says, "You must know that the situation on the continent has been a bit strange lately, even though you're staying at the academy." Hearing this, Duke immediately states, "How would I know about those things?" But Arthur responds, "Your eyes left on the continent are still alive." Duke says, "You already know, yet you still ask me this." Arthur says, "The Emperor is obsessed with immortality and has searched the entire continent for it. Do you think it's possible?" Hearing this, Duke says in surprise, "Magic can delay aging, but immortality is absolutely impossible." Arthur also agrees with this view. Arthur says, "But what if it's related to an ancient dragon relic?" Hearing this, Duke immediately shows an extremely shocked expression. Meanwhile, Zeke is eavesdropping on all this from the next room. He's using the soul body technique of listening. If it's related to an ancient dragon relic, this is indeed possible. But Duke asks puzzledly, "Could it be that you've already found the location of that thing?" Arthur says, "Probably." According to the Black Armament Team's report, the ancient dragon relic should be in the northern continent. Duke says, "Do you mean the Emperor doesn't know about this yet?" Arthur says, "Of course, but the Emperor will find out sooner or later." Duke recalls past events. After the Emperor took power, he said he wanted to unify the continent and started a war. After reclaiming half the continent, he stopped fighting. Duke thought the Emperor wouldn't pursue such dreams in his old age, but that wasn't the case. Arthur says, "If this relic can truly achieve immortality, then the continent will surely be engulfed in flames again. This matter is extremely important, so I will personally go to the northern continent to prevent the Emperor from flying into a rage after finding out. That's why I came here to find you." At this moment, the two clink their glasses and down their juice in one go. Duke says, "As expected, you only make me do troublesome things." In the next second, Zeke falls to his knees due to consuming a large amount of energy. An ancient dragon relic? If I'm not mistaken, that sculpture I obtained in my previous life must be the ancient dragon relic. The voice that echoed in my head before death and the windows I saw after rebirth, it all makes sense now. I stole the relic that could fulfill the Emperor's wish. So he sent his direct unit, the Hounds, to hunt me down. And the administrator system that sent me back to the past is the ancient dragon relic. But who created such a thing? A moment later, Duke and Arthur leave the room. At this time, he seems to notice something unusual behind the door. If that thing is the relic the Emperor is looking for, what's the connection between returning to the past and immortality? In the next second, Arthur suddenly pushes open the door, but he doesn't find Zeke. Arthur thinks, was it just my imagination? The scene changes, and Zeke is training in the training room. Decker says, young master, your classmate is here to see you. Classmate? Could it be Rena? Then let her in. A moment later, Liam kneels before Zeke and says, please, take me in. Zeke is very frustrated. I shouldn't have interfered back then. Zeke says, you want to be my subordinate? But what about Jaken? Liam says, I was abandoned. I must enter Valhalla. Zeke is very curious. Why was this guy so obsessed with Valhalla in his previous life? Zeke says, but you shouldn't come to me. You should go to Thun Jamans. I don't have family support behind me. That means I can't help you enter Valhalla. Also, how can I trust what you're saying? To put it bluntly, you could be a spy sent by Jaken. Just then, Liam pulls out a short knife from his waist. Then he cuts off his own ear with one slash. Liam says, I'll find a way to prove myself. If you want me to become mute, I'm willing to cut off my tongue. If you want me to become crippled, I'm willing to cut off both legs. I've entrusted my life to you. Please accept me. This scene reminds Zeke of his previous life. I want to become stronger than anyone. Please teach me, teacher. The current Liam is just like his past self. In the next second, Zeke throws his heavy sword. He says, if you can withstand one strike from me, I'll accept you. A moment later, Liam simply treats his wound. Now he's very shocked. He had thought that taking one strike would be very easy. After all, he can also use aura. But is this guy really the same age as us? This powerful aura scares Liam into a cold sweat. At this moment, he doesn't even dare to breathe. In the next second, Zeke suddenly launches an attack. Seeing this, Liam immediately uses all his strength to block it. With a loud crash, the sword in his hand is sent flying dozens of meters away by the powerful force. Zeke says, Liam Stone, is this all the strength you have? I overestimated you. I advise you to give up on Valhalla. It seems he was truly abandoned by Jaken. If he hadn't become Jaken's servant, Liam couldn't have entered the cradle. The Academy dares to expel even me, a direct descendant, so Liam will probably be expelled soon. Just then, Liam grabs Zeke's right leg. Does he need to go to such lengths? He's the man who was known as the Mercenary King in the previous life. At this moment, Liam says tearfully, please, Lord Zeke, give me one more chance. Seeing this, Zeke is very frustrated. It seems he has no intention of giving up. Zeke says, then I'll give you one more chance. But I have one condition. You said earlier that as long as I accept you, you're willing to do anything. So cut off your right arm. Hearing this, Liam breaks out in a cold sweat on the spot. Zeke says, what's wrong? Are you reluctant to part with this arm? In reality, Zeke is trying to make him give up his life as a swordsman. Zeke knows he definitely won't follow this request. Zeke says, if you can't make a decision, please leave. I need to continue training. Meanwhile, Liam slowly stands up. Although Zeke doesn't understand Liam's purpose for entering Valhalla, even if he doesn't enter Valhalla, he can still reach the red level. In the next second, Liam picks up the heavy sword from the ground. Then he swings down hard, aiming at his own arm. Damn, he's really too crazy. Without any hesitation, Zeke immediately intervenes and breaks the heavy sword. Then he grabs him by the collar. He says, what joke are you playing? What if I change my mind? You actually dared to do it. Liam says, that's because I might lose something more important than an arm. Zeke says, if you do this again, I will kick you out without hesitation. Hearing this, Liam says happily, Lord Zeke, do you mean you're willing to accept me? Zeke says, of course. But before that, quickly pick up your ear. The scene changes. Zeke and Liam are having a meal. Liam says in surprise, can I really use such good medicine? Zeke says, of course you deserve it. But speaking of which, what is more important than your arm? Liam says, it's my mother. After Jaken abandoned me, I received news that my mother had collapsed from a high fever. Although the fever quickly subsided, her body developed rose-like spots, and her body became increasingly weak. Even the village healers don't know what disease my mother has. Zeke says, so you want to go to Valhalla because Valhalla can provide the best medical resources on the continent. At this moment, Zeke writes down some text. Rose-like red spots, periodic high fever. These are symptoms of the red flower disease that will sweep across the continent 5 years later, highly contagious and lethal, claiming countless lives. Fortunately, a treatment was developed then, otherwise the consequences would have been unimaginable. Zeke hands the prescription to Liam and says, this medicine is very simple to make, even village healers can produce it. Seeing this, Liam says in shock, how do you know about a disease that even healers don't know about? The genius alchemists, the Al and Jet brothers, developed a treatment to save the continent. But greedy alchemists wanted to profit from patients. So when the brothers found out, they published the formula. At this moment, Zeke slowly says, it's nothing, I just know some alchemists. Now that you have the treatment, there's no need to go to Valhalla, and no need to be my subordinate anymore. Hearing this, Liam slowly kneels before Zeke and says, how could that be? I've already entrusted my life to you. I swear to serve you for life. Zeke thinks, an oath of loyalty? The Mercenary King from my previous life is my subordinate. That's very reliable. Zeke says, if you can't keep up with me, I'll abandon you immediately. On the other side, Owen finds the principal. He says, I'd like to suggest something. How about increasing the difficulty of this semester's evaluation? Hearing this, the principal asks puzzledly, why do that? Owen says, the level of this year's first-year students is quite good, with capable family children plus 2 pure blood awakeners. If the exam difficulty remains the same as last year, the ability to differentiate will be greatly reduced. At this moment, the principal slowly says, you're right, I'll consider your suggestion carefully. A moment later, the principal heaves a long sigh. He thinks, blood is thicker than water indeed, thinking the same as that person. Considering future troubles, the buds must be nipped in the cradle. Time quickly arrives at the semester evaluation day. Dungeon exploration test, Academy's unique semester evaluation method. 2 people per group, escaping the dungeon within the specified time. Each group is randomly assigned a dungeon, so there are huge differences in difficulty between dungeons. Zeke says, Liam, are you nervous? Too nervous and you'll make mistakes, not nervous and you'll be arrogant. Appropriate nervousness can prevent both. Next group, Zeke and Liam. Just then, the instructor stops them and says, wait, your test location is over there. Now Zeke seems to have noticed something. The instructor says, what's wrong, students? Why aren't you going in? Zeke says, nothing, we'll follow your instructions. Saying this, the 2 slowly advance toward the dungeon. Although the dungeons vary in difficulty, these are academy-controlled experimental dungeons with no real danger. Each group receives a timer upon entering the dungeon, with each group having a time limit of 96 hours. Basic combat ability is also part of the evaluation. Bringing back monster heads can earn extra points. Most importantly is to leave the dungeon. Failure to escape within the time limit results in failure. A moment later, the 2 set up a tent for rest. They've now been in the dungeon for 16 hours. By the exam day, Zeke had trained for 4 days without sleep, meaning he hadn't closed his eyes for 90 hours. Unlimited stamina can only recover physical fatigue, not mental fatigue. In a dungeon where anything can happen, it's best to minimize risks. Meanwhile, Zeke gradually closes his eyes. In the next second, an image appears before him. Bells swaying in the wind, a tattered battle flag, and a tragic scene. Now Zeke suddenly wakes from his dream. Damn, that dream again? Wait, I think I just heard the sound of bells. Then Zeke seems to notice something. He immediately extinguishes the torch and says, Liam, wake up, enemies are coming. I'll check the situation, don't light any lamps. This exam lasts 4 days. Using Dragon Eye would be too risky, so it's better to let eyes adjust to the darkness. Just then, he smells a sulfuric odor. He suddenly remembers, a level 3 dangerous monster with a sulfur-like body odor that moves in packs. Could it be hellhounds? In his previous life, during the semester evaluation, Rena caught a half-orc. Who would have thought there would be hellhounds here? But he finds it strange. Even hellhounds would weigh at most a few hundred pounds. This level of tremor indicates at least several tons. Could it be a mutation? Damn, this is big trouble. In the next second, Zeke quickly dodges the enemy's attack. Only after sliding dozens of meters does he finally stop. Damn Gemin's family. I thought they were up to something behind the scenes. They're planning to eradicate us completely. Now Liam is shocked. It's a mountain spirit, a level 1 dangerous monster that can easily tear apart hellhounds and half-orcs. The blood of mountain spirits is a raw material for making recovery potions. They possess terrifying regenerative abilities. Meanwhile, Liam stands in front of Zeke and says, I'll act as bait, Lord Zeke, you run away. Hearing this, Zeke immediately reveals a smile. He says, don't joke around. How could a lord abandon his subordinate and run away? Liam, you shouldn't rely on me, but on your own efforts. You're strong, I'll assist you, so go ahead and attack. Hearing this, Liam immediately reveals a smile. In the next second, both of them launch an attack on the mountain spirit. After a flurry of blades, now the mountain spirit has several wounds on its body. The key is that Liam attacked vital spots each time. Did he specifically study monsters? But this level is far from enough. Now Zeke jumps in to block the mountain spirit's attack on Liam. Zeke says, you performed very well in this real combat. You attacked the opponent's weaker areas, but you forgot the mountain spirit's terrible regenerative ability. It can immediately heal such small wounds. Normal attack speed can't keep up with the mountain spirit's recovery rate. You're not its match yet. Let me kill it. In less than a moment, Zeke slays the mountain spirit on the spot and gains 30 achievement points as a result. Meanwhile, Zeke signals Liam to take its head, as this can add quite a few points for both of them. Now, a window prompt appears from the front. Unexpected task, hunt 100 monsters in the dungeon, types, more than 10 kinds. Time limit, 72 hours. Task reward, double achievement points and 2 random boxes. With 79 hours left until the end of the exam, hunting 100 monsters is not a problem. But the key is the 10 types of monsters. Even if the scale is large, there are usually only 4 to 5 types of monsters in the exam dungeon. But since it's a trap prepared by Gmons, if they search carefully, there should be 10 types. Meanwhile, Liam completes the collection of the mountain spirit's head. Zeke says, very good, Liam, follow me, don't fall behind. After a moment of hunting, Time quickly dwindles to just 12 hours remaining. Zeke says, Liam, how is it? After hunting so many monsters, you should be used to real combat now, right? Liam denies this. I'm still not quite used to it. Indeed, this does take a long time to adapt to. At this time, Zeke stares at the window and falls into deep thought. So far, he has only hunted 9 types of monsters, and there are no more places to search. The Jimin's family isn't helpful at all. Why didn't they prepare one more type of monster? Just then, a violent tremor arrives. In the next second, the ground instantly splits open, creating a huge crack. Seeing this, Zeke immediately shouts to Liam, Liam, drop the bag and run. Before he can react, Zeke has already come to his front and cut off his backpack. Zeke says, don't worry, Liam. It's just monster blood. Now you just watch from the side. I may not be able to protect you anymore. Dungeon Worm, a monster that requires over a dozen monster-killing purple knights to defeat. This is an extremely dangerous creature. Damn, Jimons, they came well prepared. When he opens his eyes again, he finds himself back in his dormitory, thinking to himself, it seems Duke brought me here. Damn, I was so close to succeeding, truly worthy of being the Black Knight. I did everything I could but had no chance of winning against him. I used the same attack hundreds of times to lure Duke into lowering his guard, creating an opportunity with Dragon's Majesty at the decisive moment. I even used Dragon Eye to deliver a fatal blow, but it still wasn't enough. That technique Duke used at the end must be his ultimate move. Although Zeke passed out from overusing dragon skills, at least he came into contact with that ultimate move, using a body trained to the limit, that kind of super high-speed movement technique that defies common sense. The weak Andre was able to become the Red Knight thanks to this ultimate move. Although I lost the opportunity to learn the ultimate move, I still gained quite a lot. Dragon's Majesty, a pressure that can even momentarily stop the Black Knight. This skill can immediately make lower-level people submit when used on them. Just then, a window notification sounds, indicating an unconfirmed message. Then, countless window notifications appear. Quick step upgraded to C-level high-speed movement. Due to the user's strong will, the soul has grown, allowing the use of achievements to unlock the next skill. Following are various items waiting to be opened such as mini-map, inventory, beginner's task book, etc. Looking at everything before him, Zeke feels overwhelmed. So he first unlocks the inventory feature. Designated items can be placed in the inventory and will appear in hand when thinking about them. This means I can now store equipment I want. Then he imagines placing the short sword in his inventory. The next second, the great sword appears in his inventory. Different amounts of slots are occupied based on size and weight. And when Zeke wants to take out the great sword, it appears in his hand. This is even more convenient than a hyperspace box, and the inventory can continue to expand through achievements. Such an amazing feature is only a lower manager skill. What would it be like at a higher level? It seems achievement points shouldn't be used carelessly, so it's time to modify the plan. A moment later, Decker finds Zeke. He states that courtyard manager Duke has a letter for Zeke. The letter says, if you want to challenge me again, you can do so anytime. It seems I haven't failed yet, which means I still have a chance. Just then, Decker slowly says, young master, I have another message for you. I found the blacksmith you mentioned. But there's a problem. The blacksmith refuses to accept appointments. He says he won't forge weapons anymore. So after learning Galleon's location, he takes a carriage to the Fafnir smithy. In his previous life, because Zeke saved Galleon's life, he forged a sword of light for Zeke. True to his nickname Soul Blacksmith, it was a weapon made by seeing through the user's soul. The sword he made possessed the exact ability Zeke needed most, the ability to convert ether into aura. But why would the continent's top blacksmith be in such a state? Although he sometimes gets like this, the situation shouldn't be this serious. What happened to him before meeting me? Then, Zeke takes a bucket of cold water and pours it on his face. Zeke says, you should be more clear-headed now, right? I want to know why you're refusing my commission. Just then, he notices Zeke's gloves. They belong to the Draker family. Without any hesitation, he immediately apologizes to Zeke. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to offend you. I can't even make what I want for myself now, let alone make things for others. Seeing this, Zeke is very puzzled. Does Galleon also have this kind of period? When Zeke first met him, he was the best blacksmith on the entire continent, and he never seemed to mention his past. But Zeke currently doesn't have 10 years to wait for him. Then, Zeke asks him, may I see your failed works? There's no way around it. I'll have to point him in the right direction. A moment later, Zeke follows Galleon to the back courtyard. Zeke notices that the weapons here all look as exquisite as works of art. Then Zeke observes the weapons here. These aren't failures at all. They're just as excellent as what he made when he became the continent's top blacksmith in the future. Next, Zeke uses Dragon Eye to observe the weapons. As I thought, is the problem with the furnace? You must be using your own original forging method, right? Mixing various metals to create lighter materials. But the hardness is too low, and there's only one reason for this problem: failure to remove excess impurities during the heat treatment process. Galleon is shocked that Zeke not only identified his forging method, but also pointed out its fatal flaw and cause. He thinks, perhaps Zeke might be able to help me after all. At this moment, Galleon slowly says, I have a good proposal. Could you take a look at this? The next second, Galleon opens his design blueprint. Zeke clearly knows this is the secret to Galleon's success 10 years later, the design for a magic furnace. One that can freely control the furnace's temperature using magic. Zeke says, this design is indeed very suitable for you. But since you've designed the blueprint, why haven't you built the furnace? Galleon slowly explains, because I haven't designed the most important mana drive, and commissioning mentioning the magic tower to design one would cost at least 10,000 gold coins. A normal family's monthly living expenses are only 10 gold coins. Did it really take him 10 years to save this amount? At this time, Galleon slowly says, "You are a pure-blood awakener of the Draker family. If you could help me complete this furnace, I'm willing to forge weapons for you unconditionally for life." Although Zeke is a pure-blood awakener, 10,000 gold coins is still too much for him. It would be different with family support. Just then, Zeke suddenly remembers something. He says, "A mana drive? That's all. I accept your proposal. I'll commission a magician, I know, and I'll notify you as soon as there's a result. One last thing. Stop drinking fruit juice." After saying this, Zeke turns and leaves. Scene changes. Zeke arrives at the Draker Academy Professor Research Institute. Why would the Magic Tower people ask for such a high price? Fortunately, Pinan's specialty is precisely mana magic drives. Just then, a noise nearby attracts his attention. This alley. I remember it's where I was often bullied in my previous life. At this moment, Raven is furious. What unprecedented golden reaction. What super awakener surpassing purebloods. Don't joke around. Losing to Zeke was unavoidable. After all, he ambushed me before the fight even started. Although I did lose, why would such an inferior factor be a pureblood awakener? Just then, Zeke's voice sounds from behind him. "Raven, I didn't expect you'd find my replacement so quickly. I'll give you 3 seconds to kneel down and kowtow." The next second, Raven is frightened into a cold sweat by this killing intent. Damn. Just a few months ago, he was under my foot. How can I be afraid of him now? Just then, Raven gestures to the others. "What are you waiting for? Go beat him up." Seeing this, Zeke feels speechless. He already gave them a chance. The next second, Zeke dodges an enemy's right fist. Then he swings a heavy punch at the enemy's face, instantly knocking him to the ground. Meanwhile, facing the group's attack, Zeke handles them all with ease. In no time, Zeke has knocked down everyone. Seeing this, Raven is shocked. How is this possible? Is this still the Zeke I knew? At this moment, Zeke slowly says, "Don't be afraid, pain is only momentary." Hearing this, Raven immediately draws his sword, saying, "If you dare come near me, I'll kill you." But Zeke's expression becomes serious, saying, "Do you know what it means to draw your sword outside the practice field?" Raven Kunrath, drawing your sword outside the practice field with killing intent. I will respond with killing intent. This battle will decide life and death. According to tradition, all responsibility lies with the individual, and after the battle, there will be absolutely no accountability for the other party. Liam Stone, you are the witness of this battle. Hearing this, Raven immediately falls to his knees, then cries out, begging Zeke to spare him. "Please spare my life." This reminds Zeke of a scene from his previous life. What a ridiculous fellow. The next second, Zeke cuts off Raven's ear with one slash, saying, "Let your ear stand in for your life." At this moment, Zeke speaks again. "The next time I see you, if your ear has regenerated, then I won't be cutting off your ear, but your head." After saying this, Zeke turns and leaves. Just then, Liam calls out to him, "Lord Zeke, why did you save me?" Zeke says, "Don't mind it, I wasn't saving you, I was saving myself." Scene changes, Zeke finds Professor Pinon. Pinon says, "In conclusion, this is feasible, but before that, let me tell you something. As you said, the structure is very simple, but the problem is the furnace core, which is the heart of the drive. This furnace requires complicated conditions. It needs strong firepower and time control, and there's no precedent for such a design." Zeke is confused and says, "But this can be made, right?" Pinon says, "Of course, there are currently 2 methods. First, I can design the drive myself, but calculations for the furnace core alone would take over 15 years. Hearing this, Zeke is shocked. 15 years? Pinon continues. "The second method is not to design the core directly, but to substitute other materials, which can greatly shorten the time. But the problem is, that material is high compression mana stone." Hearing this, Zeke says in shock, "Isn't that an ancient relic that can't be manufactured with modern technology?" Pinon says, "Indeed, this relic is very rare in ruins. If it's a mana stone that can support the furnace, it's worth at least 3,000 gold coins. Damn, 15 years is too long. If people discover I can't use aura, I'll be expelled from the academy. But 3,000 gold coins is too much for me, and I can't give up the Sword of Light." The reaction that appeared on the blessing ceremony day made everyone think I could use aura, but actually that was done using ether and healing. Ether is a force humans can't control, and besides the protective aura my master taught me, I can't use sword techniques that require aura. Moreover, aura has a wider range of applications than ether and is easier to control, so I need the Sword of Light, but where can I find high compression mana stone? Just then, Penon slowly says, "The person who designed this blueprint is really amazing. Considering the complex furnace core, this structure is very efficient, something rarely seen even in Golden Age ruins." Golden Age ruins? That's right, why didn't I think of that? Zeke says, "Professor, please design the drive before I return." Hearing this, the professor says in surprise, "You're not really asking me to spend 15 years on this design, are you? Don't joke around. I'll bring back the high compression mana stone." So, he goes to the Draker Academy Central Library. After Draker and Draker killed the evil dragon Bahamut, humans entered a century of peace, giving birth to the Golden Age. The ancient relics found in the dragon's lair at that time were items from the Hero King's era, far surpassing modern technology and magic levels. High compression mana stone that could support an entire village's mana consumption was also a relic from the Hero King's era. The library designed by Draker had low usage but was constantly maintained, and during an expansion, they discovered ruins from the Golden Age. After months of excavation, they found many Golden Age relics. This caused a huge sensation at the time, but all this happened 10 years later. Scene changes. Zeke quickly arrives at the central library. At this moment, he decisively uses the Dragon Eye skill. The next second, he discovers something unusual in the library. As I thought, it's hollow inside. Then Zeke concentrates ether in his hand, using a technique called Soul God Slash, a skill his master taught him for using ether. Putting willpower into ether gives it cutting ability, which can be applied in various ways, but the side effect is consuming large amounts of ether. As Zeke uses the skill, he quickly enters the underground space of the library. A moment later, Zeke walks deeper into the secret passage holding a torch. Just then, a noise nearby attracts his attention. Skeletons! Judging from their weapons, these weren't created by a mage. If that's the case, let's quickly dispose of them. In no time, Zeke completely eliminates the two skeletons. Just then, a window notification appears in front. Killed 2 skeletons. Gained 2 achievement points. He suddenly remembers that killing monsters can also earn achievement points. This is an opportunity to gain a lot of points. Scene changes. Zeke kills 20 skeletons in one go. Now he has 40 achievement points, so he decisively unlocks the mini-map feature. The next second, the entire map appears before his eyes. This looks like a magic map. Then he notices a conversion device nearby. That can convert the flat map into a 3-dimensional one. Seeing this, Zeke is excited. This feature is amazing. But why is this room red? Just then, a window notification appears in front. Do you want guidance to the Dragon Slayer's tomb repository? Zeke clicks confirm. He didn't expect it would be so easy to find his destination. As he presses the button, the fastest route to the destination appears before him. This is great. Now I won't have to worry about getting lost. A moment later, Zeke arrives at the destination door. Just as he's about to push it open, he's instantly repelled by a magical force. It's defensive magic. This must be why Magic Tower members were deployed. If not for these gloves, Zeke's hands would probably be gone already. Damn, I can't open this door either. Can the system open it? The next second, the system seems to hear Zeke's request and removes the defensive magic for him. Seeing this, Zeke is amazed and says, "Can you understand what I'm saying now?" The system says, "Of course, do you have any other requests?" He can actually talk with the system. He curiously asks, "Why am I able to return to the past?" The next second, the system refuses to answer this question. Then Zeke asks several questions in a row, but the responses are still rejections. Damn, it won't tell me any important questions. Zeke says, "Then can you help me open the gate?" The system says, "Of course," and the gate slowly opens. At this moment, countless huge treasure chests appear before Zeke's eyes. Could these all be treasure boxes? Treasure boxes, just as the name suggests. They're filled with many precious treasures. There are hundreds of chests here. In no time, Zeke collects all the treasure chests. Finally it appears, high compression mana stone, and there are actually 4 of them. One achievement can expand the inventory by 4 slots, although currently he can add more than 40 slots. It's still far from enough. It seems I need to work hard to move everything here before graduation. Just as Zeke is about to leave, an uneasy aura suddenly surrounds him. The next second, a magical barrier encircles him. Before he can react, he's magically teleported to an unknown location. Zeke is very curious. He asks, "System, where is this?" The system answers, "Manager, you are now in the Dragon Slayer's resting place." Hearing this, Zeke is puzzled. Future information never mentioned this place filled with stone coffins. Then Zeke opens the mini-map to check. Indeed, this is a place not far from the transfer point, so it must be a secret location never discovered in his previous life. As Zeke slowly opens the stone coffin, the next second, a suit of armor appears before his eyes. At this moment, a window notification appears in front, discovered the Dragon Slayer's exclusive equipment. Indeed, this is completely different from Golden Age armor, and this small hole seems like something could be inserted into it. At this point, Zeke suddenly recalls that the hole size seems very similar to the Mana Stone. Without any hesitation, he immediately inserts the Mana Stone into the Dragon Slayer's exclusive equipment. But the next second, the equipment begins to shake continuously. Then it explodes due to overload, instantly covering Zeke in soot and dust. He's very curious. Is the high compression Mana Stone the power source for the armor? What kind of function would need so much energy? Oh well, just ask Peanut about these questions later. A moment later, Zeke arrives at the final room. Such a large room with only one glass coffin. The next second, a window notification appears in front. This startles Zeke greatly. Discovered Draker's legacy, the cursed heart of the mad dragon Bahamut. This guy actually preserved the heart of the dragon he slew as a legacy. So the ominous aura I felt earlier was emitted by this thing, but it seems somewhat different. Just then, the heart suddenly reacts to Zeke. The next second, many voices suddenly appear in Zeke's mind. That's right, listen to me. I will kill all of you. Hearing this, Zeke immediately resists with a strong will. What does this mean? Why would I do this? And at this moment, he notices a black aura continuously eroding him. Then, the black aura surrounds Zeke, and an emergency task suddenly appears in front. Drakern Draker's Oath, overcome the powerful curse on Bahamut's heart, reward, ownership of Drakern's legacy. The next second, Zeke's strong will resistance fails. Then he's instantly eroded by the black aura. Subsequently, Zeke loses control of his body. Stop your complaining, it's so annoying. You want freedom? Freedom must be earned by oneself. As the glass breaks, Zeke defeats the Mad Dragon's curse, successfully obtaining ownership of Drakern's legacy. At this time, Zeke takes a deep breath. That was dangerous. I didn't expect the skill would fail. Just then, a window notification appears in front, beginning to absorb the cursed heart of the Mad Dragon Bahamut. Then the heart emits a dazzling light. In an instant, extremely pure mana enters Zeke's body, but there's no aura in his body that can absorb mana, so the mana with nowhere to go is destroying his body. Damn, I need to think of a solution. Then, Zeke uses the full body technique Seal. This is a skill that wraps mana in ether, then seals the mana in the ether hall. With a loud sound, Zeke completes the seal on the mana. Finally survived, the heart disappears at the same time. That mana was indeed Bahamut's. Just then, he notices a giant dragon mark on his chest. Did this appear when sealing the mana? At this moment, countless window notifications appear before Zeke. The absorbed mana has changed the manager's body. Manager's constitution changed to celestial bone body. Discovering power the manager cannot bear. 95% of the compressed sealed power has obtained the qualification of successor, can browse Drakern's secret library. Opening beginner's task book, providing tutorials for lower managers. Looking at everything before him, Zeke feels overwhelmed. Well, just check these things slowly later. Just then, Zeke suddenly notices something. Whether to open Drakern's another legacy. Seeing this, Zeke immediately shows a mischievous smile. The ancestor is truly generous. After Zeke opens Drakern's other legacy, it appears before him. This is. Scene changes. Zeke organizes the legacy he brought back into his dormitory. He checks his status window. He can see many new additions, including Word Soul skill that needs to be unlocked after becoming stronger. Authority, Dragon Domination, can dominate dragon race, issue commands to dragons. Constitution, Celestial Bone Body, can exert the best physical abilities, increases martial arts learning speed, improves body's ether conductivity. But just looking at these explanations, Zeke is still very confused, and he remembers that many windows related to Drakern popped up at that time. Then he indicates to the system, open all notifications related to Drakern. The next second, a window notification sounds. Updating information is required when browsing Drakern's secret library. Please move to a location where information can be updated. Then the minimap marks the location. Seeing this, Zeke is extremely shocked. It's actually Valhalla. Valhalla is the top night training institution. No one can enter except related personnel. Even Zeke can't secretly sneak in there, and he doesn't plan to enter Valhalla. But if there's also Drakern's legacy there, then the plan needs to be changed. It seems I need to continue staying in this damn family. Then Zeke checks the beginner's task. At this moment, a window notification appears in front, beginning to prepare tutorials for lower managers. After the tutorial ends, tasks will be issued for the manager's growth, and you will receive rewards when tasks are completed successfully. The next second, the system opens the tutorial for Zeke. In no time, Zeke is teleported to an alternate space. What is this place? Was I teleported away again like last time? No, this time it seems the entire space has changed. Just then, 3 huge half-beasts appear around Zeke. Beginner's task, kill monsters using more than 2 skills within 1 hour. Reward, achievement points and opening the shop. A task tailored for beginners? I didn't expect the scene would be materialized. The next second, Zeke dodges the monster's attack with a flash, then uses high-speed movement and continuous attack skills. With a shadow flashing by, the surrounding monsters are completely eliminated. He feels the greatsword in his hand is incredibly light. Could this be the effect of the celestial bone body? At this level, he can easily defeat a purple knight. A moment later, Zeke is teleported back to the training field. Was that all an illusion? Why did it feel so real? At the same time, a window notification appears in front. You have received additional critical rewards. You have received additional time rewards. Received 40 points and open the shop. Seeing this, Zeke is surprised. This means he can purchase items from the shop, and everything inside are rare level items. Then Zeke tries to sell equipment, but the system prompts that the practice greatsword cannot be sold, while the elven short sword is priced at 4 points. It seems only ancient relics can be sold. If there's no urgent need to use points, there's no need to sell. The next day, Zeke finds Professor Pinan, who says in surprise, "How did you find this thing?" Zeke says, "It's a long story, but more importantly, when can the drive be completed?" Pinan says, "I've already completed the drive." Zeke says, "You finished so quickly? You're amazing." Pinan says, "You brought the Mana Stone. You're the amazing one." It seems he's suspicious of Zeke. Every discovery of Mana Stone is registered with various ancient texts to manage the ownership of the valuable Mana Stones. The serial number confirms the excavation period, location, and owner. But the Mana Stone Zeke brought isn't in the registry. At this moment, Zeke slowly says, "You should have confirmed there are no issues, right? Can we leave now?" A moment later, the two arrive at the smithy. As the furnace core operates, the magic furnace begins to work. Then the professor leaves. citing classes as an excuse. Galleon is very happy. He never thought he would complete the magic furnace in this lifetime. Just then, Zeke takes out an item from his bag saying, "Use this to make a sword for me." Seeing this, Galleon shows an extremely shocked expression. Isn't this a dragon's fang? The most solid fang of the cursed mad dragon Bahamut? Where did you find such a well-preserved item? That's right, Drakern's second legacy is this. At this moment, Galleon says somewhat tremblingly, "You not only created the furnace for me, but also gave me a dragon fang for me to forge. I definitely won't disappoint you." This scene reminds Zeke of a moment from his previous life. This guy is still the same, so I'll entrust this to you. I wonder what kind of sword he will make. I'm really looking forward to it. After Zeke completes the sword-making commission, he returns to his exclusive dormitory. He suddenly remembers that after the bet with Duke ended. It's been a week since he sent Zeke that letter about challenging him again. There should be some reaction by now. Just then, Zeke suddenly senses something. Then he hears a voice from behind. "Why didn't you come find me this time? You better tell me the truth." Zeke says, "I had no intention of challenging you, so I didn't go." The next second, Duke comes in front of Zeke saying, "You need to tell me the truth." Before Zeke can react, he's thrown out by Duke. When he comes to his senses, he's already been thrown out the window. Seeing this, Zeke breaks out in a cold sweat. At this height, if he can't heal in time, he'll die instantly. Then, Zeke reaches for the railing. But the next second, Duke has already grabbed his neck saying, "I saw through your intention long ago. You know what I mean, yet you keep delaying, both last time and this time, as if deliberately provoking me." Zeke is shocked. Did this guy know I was playing him all along? Duke says, "I'll give you 5 seconds to tell me the truth."